Alrighty, folks, this is episode number 120 of YWC Football Talk. It is a momentous episode, and I know it's not as momentous as 100. Matt, you were on for 100, but this other guest of mine, making his first ever appearance on YWC Football Talk, it is the one and only Chris Ramey. Chris, I can't call you Chris, I'm sorry, Ramey. Welcome to YWC Football Talk. How are we feeling today?
Happy to be here. Thank you for having me. How about them Cowboys?
Fuck off. There is we're gonna get on that. We're gonna get on that note. Sorry, I had to get that in there. At least you're not like Michael Irvin coming on First Take today and saying, "Oh yeah, Cowboys fans, go buy your Super Bowl tickets and all this stuff." Because I was saying to you guys off air, this spread of games, this was a very bad spread, but one of the best highlighted games. Which Matt, I think you were there on Friday when Bobby was telling me like expect the Patriots to get their asses whooped. This game was the complete opposite of what we expected.
It should have been. I mean, I didn't see a lot of it, but Dallas looked like they controlled everything. And it was one of those games where it was like the team who's getting dominated is still somehow in it.
I'll let Ramey explain on this more, but they literally shot themselves in the foot by the amount of penalties they took. Like there was the one play where Cedric Wilson had a nice catch, which would have got them within the 10-yard line. And there was a holding call. There was like other big plays, and then boom, it would be a false start. Or even there was another ineligible receiver downfield because offensive linemen can't turn their back because if they do that, they appear as an eligible receiver when they don't report to the official. This was just a game where literally, and also too, one thing I'll say is Mike McCarthy calling that timeout. I'm trying to think if it was in the fourth quarter or if it was right before the end of the first half. But Mike McCarthy's clock management, there were so many things that if Dallas did right, this game would have been a smoke. Because like if you see the stats, and even too, Matt, look up the time of possession. Dallas absolutely obliterated New England.
Yeah. 39-17 to 26-51. And you said it. Mike McCarthy's fucking clock management. Dallas is 5-1. They could go to the Super Bowl. Mike McCarthy is the reason why they won't. He's the dumbest fucking person. Right? Oh, he's terrible. They win in spite of him. They're 5-1. They should be 1-5 or 2-4 because of Mike McCarthy being a complete moron when it comes to time management.
Someone tweeted that like, oh, now they're 5-1. Is McCarthy really that bad? People were like, yeah, he is.
He's awful. I mean, first of all, he didn't call that timeout before the end of the half when they could have gotten the ball back, but they don't call timeout until there's 8 seconds left. Why even call the timeout at that point? You could have done it when there was 38 seconds left. And then the Patriots, of course, take a knee. In the effing fourth quarter, when he freaking calls the timeout with 24 seconds left, I'm like, okay, we're going to go for it on fourth down. You don't call the fucking timeout if you're going to kick the field goal. I know he hit it, but you don't call the timeout if you're going to kick the field goal. You only call the timeout if you're going to go for it.
Why did they hire him in the first place?
Jerry Jones is stupid.
Yeah. I say this as an outside party. I'm not trying to take a shot or stab or anything. I'm just saying this. I've said this for years now, and I've said this on this podcast numerous times. The Dallas Cowboys will not win another Super Bowl until Jerry stops making the football decisions, but he's too egotistical to get out of his own way. You bring in a football guy to run the show, it can do wonders. You let Jerry take a back seat, but Jerry's, like I said, his head's just too big for that. The thing that's saving this team right now is Dan Quinn is proving why he was such a great defensive coordinator in Seattle. Some of the schemes he ran up, like we were talking about on Twitter, that Randy Gregory sack, I saw him coming around the corner from a mile away as we was a surprise kitty on camera. But pets are always welcome to YWC Football Talk. And even to the one Randy Gregory sack and then the strip sack. I think it was the strip sack I saw coming, but even to something like just look at Trayvon Diggs' play, and even too on the offensive side of the ball, which Tony Romo was just pumping the tires for Kellen Mond, Minnesota Vikings backup. Kellen Moore, how he's saying, like, always give you a head coach next year and everything like this. I think it's the coordinators doing it, and then McCarthy's just the guy that's in charge. But the one remarkable thing to me in all this is for Dallas, they're 6-0 against the spread.
Yeah, and like you said, Kellen Moore and Dan Quinn are the reason why the Cowboys are doing so well. The one thing that Mike McCarthy does, the one decision he gets to make is when to call timeouts, when to go for it on fourth down, and he's missing almost every time with that. Kellen Moore should be the head coach of the Cowboys. Because at the end of the season, it's going to come down to Kellen Moore is going to become a head coach. If Jerry Jones is as good of a football mind as he thinks he is, he lets Mike McCarthy go and he gives Kellen Moore the ship.
I told Bobby the other day, I was like, I hate Jerry Jones. Every time they show him on TV, you just want to like stab him. But I hope he lives to be like 190 because Griff's right. He's holding them back. He's the president, GM, owner. He does all the decisions, and you need to have.
But the second that he's not in the picture anymore, it's going to be his son. It's going to be
it's his daughter,
his idiot daughter, and his doofus son-in-law.
But no, it is Ramey, Matt is right though. I believe Charlotte Jones will be the one taking over. I think Steven will still be involved, like president or something like that. But I think Charlotte will hold the majority stake of the team once he's gone. Because Jerry can stay for alive for as long as he wants, as long as he just keeps drinking his Johnny Walker Blue. That's his whiskey of choice.
I just hate that guy so much, but he needs to stay around forever. If they win a Super Bowl before I'm dead, that might be the darkest day ever. I say this too with the Cowboys, and I know Matt makes fun of me for this the other day and how look, I like more than one hockey team, but I view the Dallas Cowboys as the Maple Leafs for the NFL. They live off past success, but you're waiting for them to succeed, and at the same time too, like I'm doing for the Leafs this year. That the Leafs, I don't care what they do in the regular season; it's what you do in the postseason. If Dallas makes it in, but gets out in the divisional round again, it's just going to be back to square one. So for me, for the Cowboys, it's hey, you can do what you want now. It's what you do in January that truly counts, because that's what people remember. People are going to remember that. When was the Leafs' last cup? Honest
last
question.
cup was 67. Last playoff series win was 2004.
God, that long? We were in high school when the last time they won.
Yeah, I was in the 5th grade.
I was 9 the last time the Cowboys won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
My dad was 1 year old.
To some extent, the Yankees do the same thing too.
I could talk about the Yankees off camera, but is it a bit of a coincidence to me that they haven't won a World Series since George passed away?
No, because they're a business now.
Well, no, because when did George?
For the YWC Baseball podcast, but he used to treat it like I'm going to spend all my money on this team, and now his son's treating it as like I have to make money because he's one of the only owners that makes his money from the team. He's not some billionaire from a hedge fund like Steve Cohen. So they treat it like a business now, but it's frustrating.
Going back to football, that's actually how David Tepper got his money, because I was looking it up yesterday to be curious, and David Tepper's the richest owner in the NFL right now. He's worth $15 billion.
Is he really?
Yeah. If you want one of the richest owners in sports, go look up how much Steve Ballmer's worth. I think it's like $40 or $50 billion.
Steve Ballmer's from Microsoft, so he's got what, half of what Bill Gates has?
Yeah, and also too, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but have you ever seen the Windows 95 launch for the "Start Me Up" by the Rolling Stones? One of the funniest videos ever.
That was like one of our go-to videos in high school on like E-Bombs World and stuff, which you probably never even heard of.
I know E-Bombs World.
Before YouTube, it would be stuff like developers, and the Windows 95 launch.
I know E-Bombs World though, but the only other thing I'll say about yesterday's game on my part, from a Patriots side of it, I know I tweeted about the refs are going to call us. From what I meant by that was, I knew the second that we were punting the ball away, I said, there's no way Dallas loses this game. They're going to go downfield and either get a touchdown or they're going to get a field goal to win the game. That's what I meant by it. Also, too, because yesterday was such an up and down roller coaster for the Patriots, because it was like, okay, they took the lead, and then fucking Greg Zuerlein misses the field goal. Mac throws the pick six. Mac to Kendrick Bourne with that 75-yard bomb. And then 2 plays that were costly yesterday that ended up in the downfall was obviously the CeeDee Lamb walk-off touchdown, but the fact that the Patriots let the Dallas Cowboys convert from 3rd and 25, and CeeDee Lamb got it to 4th and 1.
Ramey, what's Dak's stats in overtime? You told me some ridiculous.
He's the only quarterback since I think 1994 to have never thrown an incompletion in overtime. He's 18 for 18 in 4 overtime games.
I hate him so much.
Yesterday was basically Big 12 football. Like the defenses on both sides had their moments where they were good, but then there were moments where they were bad. Because obviously Dak threw the intercept. Like both interceptions were off tips, but at the same time too, they both threw interceptions. But Dak and Mac both played pretty solid yesterday. I think it just came down to really which offense could capitalize more. And look, Dallas got the chance to capitalize, and they took the ball and ran with it, because it was no matter who they were getting into someone like how Amari Cooper was a non-factor, but then they bring in Noah Brown, who I thought was CeeDee Lamb for a second, because they sort of look alike. And then too, Dalton Schultz, and even Blake Jarwin, I believe, had a touchdown yesterday. Michael Gallup,
1 catch for 1 yard.
Yeah, Michael Gallup on the IR is coming back very soon, probably after the bye week, maybe. Like this Dallas Cowboys team has potential, because I said about the NFC East going into the year, I didn't know. I thought Washington was going to be the team. We're wrong about that. And that's the only other thing I got to say about this game. So Ramey, I feel like if we're both done talking about this game, do we want to let the New York Giant elephant in the room loose?
Luckily I wasn't home for the game. So like I have Red Zone on the computer at work. So if I'm ever there, I'll be listening to it. So we're up 3-0, and I was like, wow, cool. I was about to text my friend Ben, and like, who's a Rams fan, and be like, really? You guys really gonna blow this? And then of course, absolutely shitting the bed, which is, did anybody expect the Giants to even keep it close? I mean, come on.
Do we think, I got to ask you this, where do you place more of the blame? Do you place it on like Judge and Jason Garrett, or do you put it more on the players? Because I know, because here's the thing, like I follow a few people from Giants Twitter, like obviously you and Alex, we talked about Smalls the other day, Justin Pennick from Talking Giants.
Yeah. And
I feel like with Giants Twitter, a lot of the times, like it's 1 week it's blaming Jones, 1 week it's blaming Garrett. That's why I asked that question.
Well, there's like half Jones lovers, half Jones haters, and then like I'm sort of in the middle where I'm like, I think he's better than I used to think he was. He'll have those really good games, but I wouldn't read too much into his shitty game this week. Like you're gonna have those games, but I blame Jason Garrett and Gettleman. Gettleman's putting the team together. He has to be the one to go.
Can I be honest with you though? I can see a world where he does get fired, but I can also see a world where they keep him because remember the Giants have 2 first-round picks this year.
Yeah, one's going to end up being in the mid because the Bears all of a sudden are just going to be 500, I guess. So we'll have 2 and 19. Well, the Eagles have like 3, 8, and 10 or something like that. But I don't see how we're what 1 and 6, 1 and 5, whatever.
1 and 5, 1 and 5, soon to be 1 and 6.
You have to fire him. Like you have to.
Can I be honest with you? I honestly think that there's a chance that this is a trap game for the Panthers because we'll talk about the Panthers in a minute, but they're a team that came out hot, but really have cooled off.
Well, are you going to pick the spread? Because then the Giants are definitely going to win.
It's like 3.5 points.
I feel like any Giants game, it should be like 10 points for the other team. But I mean, the Giants could look good against. I mean, who had them beating the Saints? I know I made fun of you, but of course I had them losing, but out of nowhere.
3 points. So the Carolina Panthers are a 3-point favorite, and the over/under is only at 43.
Is it in Carolina?
No, it's at MetLife.
Well, we're pretty shitty at home. I mean, we're shitty everywhere. So.
But then for you guys, though, because I know everyone's been talking about this, I think this is the game you have to win because you're November at the Chiefs on Monday Night Football. Tune in for Big Rat, Danny, and I for that one for our Danny Dimes Primetime series. Then Raiders, then your bye week, and then Monday Night Football again against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before returning home against the Philadelphia Eagles, which I'm already chalking that one up as a loss because that is the day Michael Strahan's jersey is getting retired. And through Pro Football Talk, I know this. Whenever the Giants honor or retire someone's number, they have a really bad track record of losing those games. Look it up.
Bad track record of losing games.
No, I know, but it's just for some reason I think that they've honored players in the past. Like obviously they lost to the Falcons with they did Eli earlier this year, but I think it was what's the guy's name? I think it was Justin Tuck, and then there was a couple other guys. I'm pretty sure whenever you did those, look up the dates because I'm pretty sure they lost those games too. So it's just a funny coincidence.
We're also beyond. We have to win this game. Like the season's over.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were bad at the beginning of last season. A little bit different this year because of injuries, but you came on, in the middle of October, end of October.
We were only in it because Dak died, and that's the only reason we were even remotely in the division. But it's over. The season's over.
Well, getting blown out by the Rams yesterday, no one expected them to really compete. The Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL. You were down 4 of your 6 best offensive players. So I chalk up Jones being bad to not having his weapons.
I'm not overreacting to that.
They probably shouldn't have even played him. He cleared concussion protocol. He got his brain scrambled last week. You're not going to beat the Rams even with him. Why risk it?
And then he plays all game. And then he gets Eli Penny scored the touchdown to get scoregami. So at least we got something out of it. But like he's playing down 38 to whatever it was. Like really?
My one thing with the Giants is too, though, because I was hearing this say on Canty and Goldberg on ESPN Radio through Sirius XM, just if you guys were wondering.
Shout out to them.
And shout out to them. And Chris Canty came up with a really good point today. How long? Because even the other thing too with Daniel Jones is why did they not pull him sooner and play Mike Glennon? Like I know Mike Glennon's Mike Glennon, but at the same time too, if you're getting killed and you're still running big plays with Jones where he could potentially hurt himself further, you keep doing stupid things like this, eventually the players are going to turn against you. We saw this, I believe, with Ben McAdoo.
Boy.
And didn't we see, man, like, why don't they bring him back? Just the slick hair, the oversized, like, wind jackets. Like, man, just bring Ben McAdoo back to coach it. He's actually, I looked this up to see where he's
on the Cowboys. He's a Cowboy assistant.
He's a consultant for the Cowboys.
Sorry, Derrick Henry just had a 76-yard touchdown run.
Well, that's fucking good.
Basically untouched.
That's for my league that I'm in. I'm actually playing Jessica this week. So if
I took my first loss in that league, but I don't have a legit reason why Daniel Jones was still playing other than they don't want to give up, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, they're playing with a patchwork offensive line. To Griff's point, you're doing stupid things. You're going to have something bad happen to you at some point. And he already got his brain scrambled because why at the 1 yard line last week? Why are you making him run to the outside?
It was a terrible play
bust up the middle.
No sense.
That's bad in itself. The Bills haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher in almost a year, and Derrick Henry already has almost 90 yards. So I think they're going to break that streak.
Derrick Henry is like, remember last year too? Derrick Henry did this. He fucking just obliterated Josh Norman, and on that random Tuesday night game because of COVID. Which I remember Titans. That's another story for another day. But I remember Titans fans were all high and mighty about that. And I'm like, literally, the rest of the league fucking hates you.
It's just the weirdest fantasy year. It's like I can't.
This is a weird year for the NFL.
And Josh Allen should have like 3 touchdowns by now, and he has none. So I don't.
Yeah. But my only point with the Giants is I think that everyone was kind of happy with Judge. Like I feel like Giants fans, you guys liked him at first, even too.
I still think he's the guy.
But if if they're 1-5 right now, what do you think the benchmark is for him to keep his job?
You can't. I'm of the mind that you can't fire him. You fired McAdoo after like 2 years.
Shermer was 2 years.
You fired Shermer 2 years. You can't keep firing guys. But then you fire the GM, and then there's usually the GM wants his own coach. Maybe you promote the assistant GM. So I could see Merritt just firing literally everybody and starting over again. But you can't keep changing coaches. It's ridiculous at this point.
And even to, I think another guy that's I don't know how much heat he takes in the local New York market, but Patrick Graham, like
we're not good at anything.
Well, he was great last. That's the thing I'm trying to say. Last year, you guys had this great defense. James Bradbury was fucking balling out and just making all these great plays, interceptions, and then all of a sudden now it just goes down. Like just the production levels and like the schemes look very different. I feel like it's like kind of like last year was like this honeymoon phase for you guys, where I feel like this year Gettleman put all these expectations there, so I can see where you get him being fired from. But at the same time, too, I'm in the mindset because I took this on from Mike Florio and I agree with it. I feel like if the GM goes, the coach has to go because eventually, like you said, the Giants can bring in a new guy to run the football operations, be GM, but eventually that GM is going to want to have their own guy because whoever they bring in won't be the same. So I feel like for the Giants, I know you said you can't fire him after 2 years. I just feel like, look, if one's going, both are going.
I only say that because they've done it the last 2 coaches, and it's getting ridiculous. I guess maybe you could promote Gettleman's assistant, but then that's sort of like
it's
the same voice.
Thing.
Gettleman hired Shermer. Gettleman's been there since 2018 because I saw something today on Twitter from his first draft back in because he was his first draft was a Saquon draft.
Yeah, I mean he's the guy who thought we could win, so we took Saquon, and you redrafting it. You take Quentin Nelson, and then hope you can get Nick Chubb in the second. But
would you have taken Josh Allen or? Sorry, Zoom sent me a gift thing. Would you change? Like, would you go Quentin Nelson still, or would you?
Yeah, because if you had him and then you have Andrew Thomas, that's the only reason to watch the Giants are like Andrew Thomas and Kadarius Toney, and they're both hurt. So there's literally there's no reason to watch the Giants.
I understand. Well, moving on now. There's a bunch of different like off-field topics from this week. Obviously, we know about the Raiders stuff. We know about some other stuff. Have you guys looked into anything from what happened yesterday with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Washington football team, not even involving football?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes' brother?
Yes, causing more shit disturbances because, and even too, this is shady that because obviously the John Gruden stuff came from Bruce Allen emails, but apparently one of the biggest things so they decided, hey, let's do Sean Taylor Day. Obviously, Sean Taylor, one of the best defensive backs in franchise history, unfortunately was murdered, I believe, in 2006. So they decided to honor him yesterday, and there's this little roped off area. But not only was he involved, but Patrick's wife and Travis Kelce's either fiance, girlfriend, or wife, too. They all taking a picture on it because they had like a chained off 21. He issued an apology, but at the same time, too, it's just one of those things where if I'm Patrick, when do you have to go to the two of them and be like, guys, knock it the fuck off? Like, imagine if Giselle was doing this shit. Like, imagine if like Giselle and like one of Tom's kids was always like in shit like this. Like with Patrick, it always just seems to get swept under the radar. But for this, I feel like this is one of those things where eventually it's reaching a point where everyone's like, all right, guys, like what the fuck are you doing?
And isn't this the second time in like a month? Because didn't Jackson Mahomes get some heat when they were playing the Ravens? Like he poured a bottle of water on top of Ravens fans that were taunting him. Like He needs to stop going to games. Like Patrick's got to be like, chill the fuck out.
Hey,
Stop dancing on TikTok.
You're not the one who's a great football player. Shut up. Like it's pathetic.
Yeah, like even too, like there was a case, like I kind of like lost respect for his wife because in 2019 the Chiefs were playing the Patriots and she was complaining about how Patriot fans were harassing her and everything. When in reality, it turned out to be that no, Patriot fans were she was being fucking annoying and Patriot fans were kind of clapping back at her and she got pissed off and called security and security eventually had to move her to like what was called a safe zone. Sorry, my head was itchy. So yeah, like I've never really liked it, but at the same time too, look, he's the ketchup loving $400 million quarterback. So I guess 500 million, excuse me. Which is so fucking wild to me that he's making that much money. I mean, but no, the fact that
he's probably the most talented quarterback we'll ever see in our lifetime.
He is, but at the same time too, it just sucks the fact that he's had to go into press conferences and address the stuff that his brother, like that Jackson stirs up, like even the water thing. And he's like, I think they go to him and say like, oh, the fans are talking back to me. Like, if you went up to someone and started pouring, like say if you were at the Devils game Friday night and they're playing Chicago and you poured water on a Blackhawks fan, chances are you'll get punched in the face.
I usually just spit on him and run away.
Classy. Yeah. I like it. But no, it's like, you know what I mean though, right? Like where he's in a box too to where he knows, hey, no one's going to touch me or anything.
Yeah, he thinks he can get away with anything because my brother's famous.
And he said yesterday that they were directed to stand in the area and he meant
that's
no
what
disrespect.
I heard.
So he was told to stand.
It was a little chained off area.
Exactly. Go beyond the chains. It's okay. We promise.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I don't. And when Mahomes is making, he's got like $440 million left on his contract and he's not having, the type of year that you'd expect him to have. He's got like 8 interceptions. This stuff that's happening is distractions that he doesn't need. He needs to concentrate on the field and not what his wife and his brother are doing.
I want to add something on to the whole, like he's not having the year he's supposed to have. I feel like that's coming from all these fucking analysts and shit expecting every play to him to go da-da-da. Like I feel like every time the ball releases his hands, everyone's expecting a fucking Sports Center highlight reel top 10 play. When in reality, if he doesn't do that, it's still. And at the same time, too, for another fun fact of them, I know they're 3-3, 2-4 against the spread. The only time they've covered the spread is playing the AFC East. They've got the Titans this week, so we'll see how that goes. But my advice always is pick against the Chiefs until they prove me otherwise. Because last year they had the same spread record as. I'm actually going to go to this game because this game interested the hell out of me, and we're going to go on a subject of fraud teams. But I know a smooth transition. But Jacksonville, first win since 2020. And I say this on the podcast often, but I still find it hilarious that the owners of the Jaguars, and I know you guys aren't exactly pro for this company, but that the owners for the Jags run a better wrestling promotion than a football team, which is their main entity of money.
They run a better football team than they do a soccer team too.
Exactly.
Yeah, their soccer team's a disaster.
The soccer team is basically the Jags of football.
Yeah, Fulham FC.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the family. They're giant tools, but yeah, that's a whole different podcast. But as bad as the Giants are, you look at the Jaguars and the Lions who are even worse somehow. So that makes me feel a little bit better.
I want to talk about I know we were just saying because the only thing that added to that game is like good for Jacksonville, Miami. I don't know what the fuck's going on there.
I have no.
But did you see that Urban Meyer said that the emotion in the locker room was like winning the national championship? He always compares everything to college football. Like, playing in the NFL is like playing Alabama every week. Like, dude, it's in the past. Stop hitting on, fraternity girls.
He needs to go. He's awful.
He's going to go and he's getting the USC job. I've been calling it for weeks now. People started saying it. I'm like, it was literally a thing on Reddit that someone said on, I think, a USC Reddit thread as a joke saying, oh, we should go for Urban Meyer. It's going to fucking happen. It's like
LSU should go for him now.
Oh, yeah. That is I know, Matt, you're very close with an LSU fan. That may be one of the biggest falls or one of the biggest one-year wonder teams in the history of football is the 2019 LSU Tigers. I know they were fantastic. But you look at how LSU has gone ever since they that talent pool. I think they had at least 4, maybe 5 first-round picks from that team.
From what I was reading, the Coach O prioritizes talking to women more than anything else now after they won or something. So
he was bringing their
chicks.
He's letting these women bring their kids to practice and stuff.
Run drills.
I get he's the head coach, but he's like this old fat guy who's not attractive, and I'm like, what the hell? He's chasing tail, really bringing chicks to practice and stuff. Like,
Money talks, baby. Go Tigers.
Insane. Oh, it's nuts.
You know, he just goes to him. He's like, "Hey, baby, go Tigers."
How many great college coaches have been good in the pros?
Pete Carroll, Jimmy Johnson.
Do you
look at more
Barry Switzer, but he was basically given Jimmy Johnson's team.
I don't know.
Yeah, Barry Switzer was handed that on a fucking silver platter. Yeah. Wasn't that a really bad fallout between Jimmy and Jerry Jones?
Yep.
Yeah, because basically those are the only three I could think of. Because Steve Spurrier failed, Nick Saban failed, Chip Kelly failed, Urban Meyer's failing as we see it.
Chip Kelly
and Pete Carroll failed the first time.
Yeah,
coaching New England.
He had to go, recreate himself at USC, and now he's had success in Seattle, but he was kind of a failure in New England.
Hey, he's a great gum chewer, okay?
I wonder what they would be without Russell Wilson. Question, anybody remember who they signed to be their starting quarterback before Russell Wilson?
Matthew Flynn.
That was a great contract they gave out.
After one game with the Packers where he went
$90 million for 5 years.
Wasn't like a week 17, he threw like 450 yards.
Yeah. Rodgers was, That's a great thing to just be like, I know we gave you a bunch of money, but you suck. We're gonna go with this kid. And
have you ever seen the Russell Wilson draft? Have you ever seen the Russell Wilson draft picture of some girl next to him where she's just like, "I'm rich," and then it's just like, no, he's gonna break up with you. He ended up marrying Sierra.
No, I never saw that.
You never did? Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, you have to look at.
Just look at like the face that she had. It was like, I'm getting a moneymaker. Not so fast, lady. Not so fast.
The one thing I say two things with the Seahawks. One is not without Russell, but without the defense more than anything. The other is too, that team hasn't been the same since the unfortunate Super Bowl play, because I'm being biased here, but they have not made it back to even a conference championship game since that year that they lost the Super Bowl to New England.
Well, most teams aren't like really great for that long. Like the Patriots are the exception to the rule.
I'm going to go back to Kansas.
Constantly take a pay cut to keep that team under the cap.
Which now he's doing the opposite in Tampa, and they're fucking 5-1 and have the same 22 starters as last year.
But their defense is not good.
No, their corners are fucking. Dude, Richard Sherman was getting cooked against the Patriots.
I don't even think that's a real hamstring injury Richard Sherman has. I think he's faking it.
He was just like, fuck this, I'm out.
He's like, I need to go on IR for a few weeks.
14-yard touchdown.
Yeah. What was I going to say as well? But no, my thing with the Patriots is that's where I feel like everyone's coming in saying, the Chiefs are going to win like 6 Super Bowls, no problem. Like, remember with the Miami Heat when LeBron went there and it's like not 4, not 5, not 6. Well, they won 2. Because even if you look at Aaron Rodgers, he only won 1. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers only has 1 at the moment. Russell only 1 at the moment. Drew Brees only 1 at the moment. Even 2.
I don't think Brees is going to win another one.
Oh, I don't know. He's 2.
How many does Eli have though?
Eli has 2.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
it's the only thing I can hang my hat on. Watch Giants highlights from 8 years ago.
But you know what?
10 years ago.
The one thing I want to say too about the whole making it back to a Super Bowl. Do you know who once said that after losing a Super Bowl, I'll get back next year, no problem? And never
Please tell me it wasn't Dan Marino.
Well, you're in for some bad news. It was Dan Marino.
I mean, if I was Dan Marino, I'd probably think that too. Guy was the GOAT of his time, and poor bastard never got back to a Super Bowl.
You know, the Green Bay Packers had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers and only have 2 Super Bowls to name for it.
Yeah, I think
amazing, isn't it? They've had 2 quarterbacks for like 30 years.
2 generational first ballot Hall of Fame quarterbacks, 2 Lombardi trophies.
Soon to be 3 with Jordan Love.
I mean, how many quarterbacks have won a game at Lambeau Field in the playoffs? Eli's got to be 3rd, right? Behind Rodgers and Favre.
I think Eli and Tom are like the only 2 I can think of, and Tom was just this year, which I still argue that's a game that I feel like the Packers fucking handed the Buccaneers because with the whole stupid, because Green Bay finally, basically the Rams didn't bite for the whole, just go to Devontae. Tampa figured that out. Todd Bowles schemed a good game plan. Then they attacked him because of that game. I think Brady threw 2 to 3 interceptions.
He did not have a good game. He didn't even have a good game in the Super Bowl. Gronk should have won MVP.
No, it's like Super Bowl 53 even too. Edelman got it. I feel like a lot of the time with the MVP, it's just quarterback's always a safe pick.
That's true.
Like even too. One thing I want to go back to Super Bowls because obviously you're talking about the 2 Giants ones.
Better times, yeah.
I'm gonna say something. You know how I know I said that it fucking pains me to even bring it up, but the David Tyree helmet catch. You know, like how in Super Bowl 51, do you remember the Julio Jones catch where he just tiptoed and got it out of bounds?
Vaguely.
See, exactly. If Dave, I'm going to ask you this. If David Tyree still makes that catch, but the Giants lose that game, do you think the play is remembered as great as it is?
Not as great, but
it'll still be remembered. Be like, hey, remember that time he made that crazy catch and they still lost the stupid game?
It's
exactly.
Like the Odell catch against Dallas. They got killed in that game anyway, but it's still like just catch, probably the best catch ever.
That's the highlight of Odell Beckham's life.
I mean, he didn't realize it. He was talking shit. His best part of his career was with Eli Manning. So
not the boat trip.
Have fun in Cleveland. Yeah, I want out. I need a better quarterback.
I think he's gone from Cleveland. I honestly think that I thought maybe, you know what, maybe they'll keep him, maybe they won't. No, he's gonna keep going from fucking team to team. Like, I feel like he hit his peak too early, and then he's just descended since. It's like fucking Conor McGregor. But that's even so. It's another podcast on the side. This isn't YWC MMA talk.
They don't throw enough. If he goes to a team that throws the ball, maybe. But I don't know what.
Beckham is going to get so much money next year after he gets cut from the Browns by the Jags. The Jags are going to throw so much money at him to be a huge weapon for Trevor Lawrence.
You think
Mark
he'd go
this
there?
down? He'd go there for the money. Florida.
You know what?
Free AEW tickets.
Yeah, that's the kick. I mean, when you put it like that, yeah.
He gets a free Team Nightmare jacket from Cody Rhodes.
God, could you imagine?
He could be on Roads to the Top.
Odell on Dynamite.
I mean, it's better than the shit they're doing with American Top Team right now. But that, like I said, even that's another podcast.
I'll be honest. That's all right. Yeah, that's like one of the only things I like, because the dude, what's his name, Ramey?
Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert.
He says the stuff we're all thinking. Like the AEW haters are like, you guys suck. Like, it's the best. I love that guy. He's so bad. It's hilarious. But yeah, back to football.
The one thing I will say about the Jags with their win yesterday, the kicker that they just got from the practice squad like 2 weeks ago, who went 3 for 3 kicking field goals yesterday.
You mean the 11-year-old kid?
Yeah, Matthew Wright. He actually was working at an aerospace. He was working at like Lockheed Martin until like 3 weeks ago.
They couldn't find another kicker on anywhere.
They hadn't hit a field goal yet this season.
But they couldn't find
this game was the first field goals they've hit all season. It's insane.
I can't believe we're talking about Jags kickers on the podcast.
It was the highlight. He got lifted up on the shoulders. He was their MVP yesterday.
I gotta show you guys a photo from that game because, man, the London. Josh Allen's the Stephon Diggs. Nice. I have Diggs. There's a picture I gotta show you guys from the game. I just looked at my phone, Matt, and literally got the notification about it. Yeah, I get the Yahoo updates. So I gotta show you this photo from yesterday of two fans from the game, just to show you guys on video. Like, I don't know how well you can see that. I'll turn my phone just to.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's a guy dressed as a dolphin, and it's a girl as a Jags fan. Like, it's a Jags fan.
She's dressed like a jaguar with blue hair. Is that blue hair?
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of hot.
Yeah, she's kind of woke. But no, like literally, I know that everyone criticizes the London games, and obviously they're going to. I don't know if you guys have heard this. They're going to try to go to, I think, Germany next year, and they're going back to Mexico City.
They're really trying to have a team somewhere in Europe.
It's not going to happen.
I don't see how. I can't see it logistically working.
No, there hasn't been a single good London game ever. They're all bad.
Well, yesterday was probably the best one.
They always send the Jags. The Jags are there every year. They're like London's.
Well, this is the team. The Dolphins played the first one against the Giants. That game sucked, and I don't know any other one that's been anywhere remotely decent.
The Patriots have been twice, and they killed the Buccaneers in 2009, and they killed the Rams when they were in St. Louis still in 2012. The one was like 35-7, one was like 42-7. I feel like they literally send teams that are bad, or the teams with the worst, like who have the really worst like attendance averages for the year. And also Jacksonville willingly does go. And weirdly enough, they're 4-4 over there.
If you were ever going to make a team go to London, it should be the Jags.
I just don't see it. I can see them maybe doing 2 home games there a year. I just can't see them doing it full time. I think it's the NFL. Look, them going to Germany, that's one thing. If you want to go back to Mexico City, that's fine. Even though Mexico City, the one, I don't know if you guys remember this 2018, that amazing Chiefs Rams game at LA Coliseum where it was like 55 to like 51.
Didn't it get canceled from Mexico City because of like smog or something like that?
The field was shitty from a concert, but yes.
Interesting.
Even still, the last Mexico City game I remember was the Patriots and the Raiders in 2017, and we obliterated them. Like, I think it's like 33-8 or something like that. Like, it's cool to see, but at the same time too, I feel like, and this is a little bias on my part, why not bring NFL regular season games up here to Canada? I know we have the CFL and stuff, but you bring two random teams here, the shit will sell.
What's the great Robin Williams line? How many guys do you have on the team? 12? Is it 12 men on the field? Oh, you have 12 men in a longer field. We'll have some fun. Yeah, great.
And we have the Rouge.
The Grey Cup. Are you what's the Toronto Argonauts or something?
Toronto Argonauts. Yes, sir. I'm a Toronto Argonauts fan.
All right, Griff, quick update. I officially am beating you now.
I'm not surprised at all. You were projected to kill me.
153, 152. So unless Josh Allen loses a fumble and then breaks his neck, I'd probably beat you.
Oh, looking forward to that update in 15 minutes.
bag.
Josh Allen being carted off the field
with Emmanuel Sanders and Tyler Bass all injured. I officially lose.
Or no, it's gonna be it's gonna be like a Justin Turner thing from the World Series last year. Oh yeah, Josh Allen test positive during the game. Sorry, Josh, we have to pull you.
We have to pull you out. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
And then he still comes on the field and he would still come on the field to celebrate a Bills win if they ended up winning this game.
Does anybody know if he's vaccinated?
He's
one of those guys who is like, you don't know.
Yeah, he said he doesn't know, but I feel like he does because the NFL. I feel like the NFL is not the worst league for that, considering what's going on in the NBA right now. But like I said, I try not to get too much into that on this podcast. I like to keep it, just straight football. I don't want to get like too far left, far right, whatever side you're on.
The wrong guy. We'll have to shut our mouths because we hate Cole Beasley with a passion. Like you have no idea.
Oh, I know. I see the Twitter exchanges.
Oh, that's right. You do. Yeah.
Yeah. I just see it for him where it's just like, dude, there's a time and place, but if you look at his stats for the year, dude, he's been fucking obsolete. They have not been using him at all.
Yeah, good.
He only had one catch last week.
Emmanuel Sanders took over his role, and he's better anyway.
And Dawson Knox is also had a coming out party and showing that he's like a fucking top 10 tight end in the league.
The Bills never throw to tight ends for
saw that on TikTok. You saw that on TikTok.
Yeah, I saw that. Some guy was talking about how the Bills never throw to tight ends. Now all of a sudden, Dawson Knox is a top 5 tight end when they never throw to tight ends ever.
No consistency whatsoever.
Matt, this is just a weird NFL year. Like, look at it. How I'm just going to go back to my example because the Patriots. We nearly beat the Bucs in a game everyone's expecting us to get our asses kicked. We almost lose to the Houston Texans in a game we were an 8-point favorite. We won by 3, and we were down by fucking 13 at one point. And then yesterday we took the Dallas Cowboys to overtime when everyone was expecting a blowout. There is the NFL. I'm going to say it this year. It's wide open to who can go. I feel like there are a handful of teams who are true Super Bowl contenders, but I feel like this year it's not going to be like, how the NBA, we had like Golden State and Cleveland for 4 straight years or 4 straight finals. I feel like this year you're not going to get another Tampa Bay Kansas City rematch. You may get one of them may go back, but I think you're getting a different team from either conference going.
Well, I think if any team is going
to Arizona, the Rams, the Packers, Cowboys, and the Bucks, they're all 5-1 or better. Like that's insane.
And if you look at the AFC, you have the Ravens, you have the South. I won't say anyone. You have the Ravens, you have the Bills, you have the Chiefs, and you have I'm still counting them. I know they're 3-3, but I'll still count them. And then you even have the Raiders who are looking really good,
and the Chargers too.
Chargers who are like, are they good or like they should have beaten Dallas, and then they just got absolutely murdered by the Ravens. So
you know what I feel like
they're good or not.
You know what happened with the Chargers and the Browns to me?
I feel Josh Allen, you idiot.
What do you do?
Just threw an interception. I'm probably losing to you now.
Yeah, he just threw a really bad pick that almost got returned for a touchdown.
But my thing with the AFC West is just like not the AFC West, but the Chargers and the Browns. I feel like everyone was just so high off that game where it was like, oh yeah, you know what, they're going to come out firing next week, where everyone kind of bought into the hype and then they didn't deliver. That's what I think. Because like the Chargers, the fact that you have like even because both teams yesterday did not play well. The Browns didn't, and the Chargers didn't, and then all of a sudden I honestly don't know what to think of the Chargers. I feel like it was just a blip in the radar because look, they have their bye this week, and then they have New England on Halloween, so we'll see how that goes. But even still, like in the NFC, you have teams you don't know who they are, like Minnesota, for example. Fucking Chicago's 3-3. Saints, I was just about to say. And even still, the Niners are still in the air in there. And with the AFC, I'm going to give you one team we still don't know if they're good or not. That's the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 4-2.
I lean more towards good, which is nice to see because they've been pretty bad for a while. Shout out to BTB.
Their defense is probably their biggest question mark in their kicking game.
But
Burrow to Jamar Chase,
yes.
Joe Mixon, if he's healthy, they have a good potent offense.
Even T. Higgins too. They have Tyler Boyd. My thing with the Bengals is like, look, they actually play the Ravens this coming Sunday. We talked about this I think we talked about this either before we started recording or right, either right before I started recording or when we. No, we didn't talk about it when we first started because that was Patriots Cowboys. This game on Sunday with the the Rams and the Bengals. This is a big opportunity for them. Not even if they lose, they can still lose, but if they look good, as long as they don't get their ass kicked, it could be like, okay, look, you guys can hang. Like, say if they lose, I don't know, 24-20, they hang. They go out there and get their asses kicked like 34-7, then it's okay. Look, you guys aren't ready yet. But like I said before, they go out there and hang and get a moral victory, or even you know what? Look, this is a Bengals team that took the Green Bay Packers to overtime in a wacky game in the week of the missed kick last week. But that's my whole thing with the Bengals is just, look, they can get a moral victory this week, but if they can go and squeak out a victory and go to 5-2 against Baltimore, that says a lot, because this year has truly been a year of people getting the monkeys off their back. Like, look, the Rams lost, the Cardinals finally beat the Rams, and Josh Allen finally beat Patrick Mahomes.
And so did Lamar.
And Lamar beat Patrick Mahomes too, yeah. And then later this year, the one I'm still wanting to see is, can the Browns beat the Ravens? Because that's my big thing with the Browns. If they can beat the Rams, if they can beat the Raiders, I think they can. Not the Raiders, fuck the Ravens.
Third time's the charm, baby.
Third time's the charm.
Cleveland doesn't look great. They're banged up. I think
they got so many injuries. Baker's got that shoulder. He redislocated it yesterday. I know it's his non-throwing shoulder, but still.
He needs to retire and just make commercials, because his commercials are like spot on.
Did you see the line in that Bengals-Ravens game next week?
No, I have not. I'm going to look it up.
Ravens are 6.5-point favorites.
I'd almost consider taking the Bengals to cover that.
Yeah, I would. I honestly thought it would be like 3.5 at the most. I know the Ravens are home and they just came off an impressive win, but the Bengals, I would actually take the points with the Bengals.
I mean, they did just absolutely murder the Chargers in what everyone thought would be like an epic game. So I would avoid that game.
Hey, the Bengals just absolutely murdered the Lions. Come on,
that's a tough game. I know Jared Goff.
Have you seen the line for the Rams and the Lions this week?
What is it, 42?
15.5.
Oh.
I might still take the Rams.
And the Cardinals are a 17-point favorite over the Houston Texans.
See, now I would have the Lions being a bigger underdog than the Texans as an underdog.
Yeah, probably.
There is one other big spread this week, but I am going to urge you against taking it. And that's the Buccaneers being a 13.5-point favorite over the Chicago Bears. I think there's a chance that the Bears cover.
That's way too much for the Bears. The Bears defense is good.
Tom Brady, remember last year, he lost to them. That's what Nick Foles was a starting quarterback. Thursday Night Football. Remember he had that 3-3. It was fourth down.
Wait, what was the line? 13?
13.5.
I might take the Bears plus, like Ramey, Alex, and I do a game where we pick 3 games and like 1 point, 2 point, 3 point.
Like what I do on TikTok and fail miserably at?
That's
kind of, yeah, a little bit.
That's too much. Bucks will probably win by 30 or something.
That's an upside I like. That's an underdog I like for this week is the Bears.
Yeah, that's
I could see the Bears not only covering, I could actually see the Bears winning.
That screams strap game to me. I'm not even kidding.
I could see it too. Just also because the Giants would then get screwed even more.
Yeah, I'm looking at this week too. Oh god, there's a really bad game in the 1:00 window. Atlanta at Miami.
Let's go, baby. Cordero Patterson is a fantasy MVP this year. That's the only reason to watch the Falcons.
That Monday night game, Saints and Seahawks. No thanks.
No, but I think the Saints, no problem on the points though.
The Saints defense is like, they've only given up 91 points, like, and they're 3-2. Like, what the hell?
At least the next week after like the next, like the week 8, we get some pretty good games. Like the Thursday night are Packers and Cardinals. Let's see, Steelers, Browns. Let's look what else. 49ers, Bears.
Right now.
Rams and Tech. Oh, week 8, LA Rams at Houston. What's the spread going to be for that?
Oh boy, yeah, that's a fantasy
23.
game.
That's at least 23.
What's the largest spread in NFL history? Maybe you just have that off the top of your head.
I actually looked that up last night.
What the hell? Get out of my head.
So
the largest spread ever.
So last year, the Chiefs being the 20.5-point favorites over the Jets was only the 9th highest spread. The Broncos in 2013 were 28-point favorites over the Jags. I have no recollection of the Broncos being 28-point favorites over the Jags.
What year?
2013.
I'm pretty sure that was the year that Peyton threw for like fucking 55 touchdowns and won MVP, and then they got obliterated in the Super Bowl by the Seahawks.
Now, can you tell me if they covered?
Hold on. I'm going to let you know in a second. I don't believe I think the Jags covered. Yeah, the Jags lost 35-19.
Unbelievable.
So the Jags covered.
Can I be honest with you guys on these spreads? I feel like a lot of the time that they do them, It's just Vegas just trying to sucker people. Like, remember Bills in Houston a few weeks ago? 16 points. Everyone's like, okay, you know what? Hey, maybe it's too high. They're not going to cover. And the Bills won 41-0. I feel like it makes, because here's the thing. If you start to overthink a spread, it's going to fuck with you. If you think logically and just go for it, that's the one thing I've learned with betting. Because also, too, I'm in a spread pool. So that's why I pay attention to it. You just think logically about it, it's more than likely going to happen.
What's a spread pool?
Basically, it's a pool where I'm in with my dad and his friends. Basically, I just go on the CBS Sports app, and every week you pick a game, but you pick who you think is going to cover.
Like, are you in a literal pool?
Yeah.
No, like an actual swimming pool.
Yes, an actual
you
swimming
guys
pool.
all get together and you like make picks in a pool. That's pretty sweet.
They're wearing floaties.
Yes, we're wearing floaties, and we have like those little like those like waterproof pouches you see like people wearing at the water park so they don't get their phone fucking destroyed.
I need to make a visit up to Toronto.
That's a pretty big bed right behind me.
I need to get my passport together and just start like doing stuff. Like, cause I would love to go to Canada. I've only been to Montreal and that was like 2006 and we didn't do anything.
You'd have a place to stay.
I know. That's the whole point. I could go hang out with you and you could show me around.
I won't overhype any food for you this time, though.
I'll bring you a case of Poland Spring.
I'd appreciate
that.
If
I do come, I'll bring you a case.
Hey, and I know Americans are allowed in, but Canadians are allowed back into the States by driving as of November the 8th, actually.
Really?
Yeah. And we don't have to test either. Like,
really?
Yeah, we don't. Well, no, we don't have the test going into America, but we have the test coming back into Canada.
That's because you guys are smart.
you guys are smart.
Yeah, come on in. We don't need to test you. Like, of course.
We trust you.
Like with with Connecticut, is there still mask mandates or?
It's not statewide. It's specific cities and towns have mandates. Okay.
Basically, nowhere I've gone recently, I needed a mask. But
am I also allowed to name this episode the Danbury Special?
I'm not in Danbury anymore. I don't think you've moved yet, but you are moving.
I am moving from Connecticut.
You can name it the Connecticut Special, the CT Special, something like that. The WestCon Boys, something stupid.
No, that's it. Sorry, that's it.
The WestCon Boys.
Yeah, or just call
it this terrible pop band from the 80s.
Or call it like this one's for you, Randy. Shout out Randy Oscar.
This is the Randy Special. I feel like he's going to get a kick out of this episode the most.
I'm sure you've heard. Matt and I were college roommates. We hated one another when we first met. Absolutely hated one another.
I mean, Matt hated me at first too, but then he got to like me. I think he still hates me though.
That's not true. Everybody annoys me, but I never hated Griff. I just kept calling him by the wrong name. I kept calling him Murph. And I was I'd be like, Alex, what's this fucking kid's name? Oh, Griff. Okay, Griff. Yeah, we met each other randomly in the lobby of the hotel. I think Breach had like told you we were there or something.
Or no, I think I had heard of you guys briefly, and then TJ and I were there for SummerSlam, and then I remember seeing you guys, and then I was going to say something, or Alex saw us the night before, and then I started messaging him, and then
you guys hung out, yeah.
And then we went back and forth, and then that's when I didn't discover the whole like resale thing with WWE tickets, because I remember we were going to those panels and stuff, and you guys paid like nothing for the DX one, but we paid like fucking $200.
Yeah, you got them at Facebook. We went to the StubHub booth and we just got them for those good times. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking LA. And even too, I remember like just being like, man, I traveled all the way to LA to watch John Cena get his ass kicked.
Yep. Yeah. It took you forever to finally see John Cena win. This guy went to like a dozen pay-per-views. Every single one, John Cena lost. The guy never loses. And Griff,
SummerSlam 2014.
Every event he went to, Griff sees Cena lose until finally WrestleMania in Orlando.
SummerSlam 2015 to Seth Rollins.
Every time.
You're Cena's kryptonite.
Yeah. And then WrestleMania 33, I saw him fucking win a mixed tag match with Nikki Bella and then propose.
How'd that work out for him?
Yeah, good. The only thing that worked out well for me from that pay-per-view was I posted my like Undertaker video that got like 130,000 views, but then fucking WWE flagged it for for copyright.
The music,
Same thing with my Cena one from WrestleMania 32, where it's just like me screaming at the top of my lungs when he came out. I got 32,000, and fucking WWE flagged it for copyright.
Well, they took down our Rumble video, Day in the Life, which had 100,000 views like 2 years later. I was like, are you kidding me? Freaking YouTube. It's like Tony Khan. Anything negative about it? This is going off the rails fast. Back to football.
Okay, back to football. But I want to ask you guys.
I have a trivia question for you, Griff. I asked this to Matt earlier because I saw it online before.
The answer's
cool, Mac. Russ Wilson's streak of 149 consecutive starts ended yesterday.
Yes.
Who's the new active leader of consecutive starts by a quarterback?
You're gonna give him the same misleading hint you gave me.
I gave you no misleading hints.
You said the answer surprised you.
Well, it did surprise me. It wasn't misleading. It actually surprised me.
There's one answer I want to go with, but I feel like it's too easy, and I feel like it's not it.
You can have multiple guesses. It took me like 5 guesses.
It took him 5 guesses to get it.
I'm gonna go off the rails with this one. My obvious guess. This isn't like the guess I'm going with, but the first name that popped in my mind was Tom Brady, but I don't think it's him.
It is Tom Brady.
Oh shit!
You should have let him get. That wasn't his. What was your other guess then? What were you gonna go with?
Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan has only started 29 consecutive games. He's only missed 3 games in his entire career. A few years ago, he missed 1 game with a sprained ankle. Brady has made 82 consecutive. Oh, that's cute. He's made.
Do you remember the last time Tom Brady missed a game?
Yes, 2016, Game 4, part of his 4-game suspension for deflating against the Bills.
Yeah.
So he's made 82 consecutive starts since his 4-game suspension. Before that, hadn't missed a game since his torn ACL.
Yep.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
What happens if it comes out later after he retires that he was just been taking steroids this whole time? Like, how is he still good? It doesn't make any sense. He's better than he's ever been.
Remember Peyton Manning with the whole HGH shit that his wife said that turned out to be false?
It wouldn't surprise me if like that ever came out, because he came back from a neck injury and was like better than ever. But like Tom Brady is better, and I get that he has weapons, but he's like 90. How is he still so good?
He's going to play until he's 50.
I think the only thing that would stop him is Giselle, who'd be enough.
But she gave that weird interview a couple of years ago on I think it was the Today Show or CBS or something like that, where she said the stuff about his concussions and whatnot. And even this year, how he meant, like, they fucking finessed the injury report by basically, because remember, he played the entire year last year on like a partially torn MCL and shit.
Feels like any team he's on, they always do that. It's like Tom Brady's like half dead during the game. He's like not on the injury report ever.
They only release those because of gambling, right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason they release the injury reports, is because of gambling. They're the only sport to do it. Obviously, theirs is different because they play every week. Like say, for example, hockey, it's a little difficult to do it because of this.
Well, hockey doesn't do anything. Oh yeah,
lower body injury
with an upper body injury. It could be anything from his hair to his like nipples. Like, that's ridiculous.
Fucking his nipple. That was like the other day too. The Leafs were playing the Senators, and Justin Hall, one of the defensemen, which the fucking Rangers beat us in OT.
Oh come on, really?
Yeah, the Rangers won.
Can't be
2-1 in overtime.
Ridiculous.
And then what was I going to say? So he basically, they're taking precautions. So say for like this guy, Justin Hall, our second line defenseman, he had a cold, but he still had to get a PCR test, so he couldn't play in the game. Like, they will hold you out because if you have a cold.
I love the NHL. I love how they're like, get the vaccine, or you're like, you can't even go into Canada.
Yeah.
So like Mackenzie Black was we're back to the vaccine talk. Like, they're just get the damn shot and play. You don't know what it's doing to your team.
That's the only thing we have to say here is just look, I'm not gonna put anything down. All I'm gonna say is just look, do what's best for everyone. If you, I know the whole, I'm going off on a tangent. The whole my body, my choice. Look,
but you saw what it did to the Devils last year. It's not like they were good, but they got off to a good start, and then they had a COVID outbreak and like stopped for 2 weeks and were never even remotely competitive again.
The Canucks, the Buffalo Sabres, the fucking Dallas Stars.
That's the only reason I say get it, is because you could screw the team up so bad. Like, imagine if Cole Beasley gets it and the Bills get sick and they have to forfeit a game. Like,
that's the thing I liked about the NFL. I know there's still a lot of NFL players who don't have, and you can tell who's who based on who's wearing a mask and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, the fact that the NFL came in and said, no, we're not going to juggle around the schedule, even though, hell, I liked seeing games on Tuesday and Wednesday night. I'd play every night of the week if I could, if I were the NFL. But they know, look, Thursday, Sunday, Monday, that's it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys a question right now. I'm going to go around the room, and I want you guys each to give me a team who you thought was going to be good, but turned out to be a complete fraud this year. And Matt, I don't want you saying the Giants. I want you to say someone else.
I can tell you that I thought the Giants would finish in third. I'm not Alex. I didn't pick them to win the division.
Okay.
I thought, Ramey, you go first. I don't even know.
Dolphins.
That's a pretty good one. I feel like the Dolphins. Well, I picked the entire NFC West to make the playoffs. I thought the Niners would be better than they are.
I had the Cardinals in last place. So, I mean.
Well, the
Cardinals. Seattle in last place.
I feel like the Cardinals.
You're looking smart.
Most people. Well, where did you have the Cardinals?
I had the Cardinals in second place. I had the Rams winning the division.
I felt, because for me, the Cardinals are the surprise. Like, I had them finishing last but making the playoffs, but I didn't see 6-0 coming.
Man, I've always been a bit of a quasi Cardinal fan. Like I'm not out here being like, "Yo, rise up, Red Sea!" Like do with me. Oh, all caps. Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. I've always just like something with the Cardinals. They're just a likable team. Like Kyler Murray, like he doesn't piss anyone off. He's a great player.
I'll
Same thing
root
with
for the
Justin Herbert.
Cardinals, and I'll be heartbroken when they face the Bucs in the NFC Championship game and lose like 31-10.
When you have big Tom Brady and then you have like Mighty Mouse Kyler Murray.
Just no more Tom, please. I feel like the Chiefs are the obvious pick. Like they're 3-3. Nobody saw that. And
Can I give you guys one?
The Browns are 3-3. Yeah.
Mine's the Denver Broncos.
You thought they'd be good?
I didn't think they'd be good. I fucking called them being frauds from the beginning of the year, but everyone was buying into the hype after them being
really.
Well, dude, everyone was
that
being
defense having Bridgewater as a game manager.
Fucking Von Miller coming back, Cortland Sutton out last year with the torn ACL. The fact that like Noah Fant was expected to take a big leap and he's been relatively quiet this year. The only bright spot for them so far has been Tim Patrick and wide receiver for fantasy. But with me with the Denver Broncos, I'm just saying that because like look, everyone was buying into the hype, and even yesterday, I even said it. I thought I didn't see the Raiders winning at all, but the fact that they were able to rise above all the crap that's been going on within their organization this past week and win that game shows how good that football team actually is.
They're also weird. Like they lost 2 games, but they also beat the Ravens opening night. And it's like, I don't know what to make of them.
And I think they're going to be a 500 team that has some weeks where they play good because of their defense and Bridgewater doesn't make mistakes. And then they have days like yesterday when everyone expected them to win and they got blown off the field by the Raiders. I know it ended up being closer than the score, than the play on the field actually showed, but I had the Broncos in last place. That's getting called back.
What about the Raiders though? That's what I meant. Like, they're like they lost they beat the Ravens the first week, and they'll lose a couple games. It's like I can't tell if they're good or not. I don't think the Broncos are good. The Raiders, I'm not sure.
I still think the Chiefs end up winning that division.
Oh yeah, the Chiefs are going to go on a fucking roll because like I'm gonna pull up their schedule. But my thing I was saying with the Raiders, because the Raiders do this every year where they got off to a hot start, and then like last year I think they did it too, where they'll go to like 3-5 down the stretch and they'll find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. It's like what Miami does every year.
Yeah, and like Miami, they went 10-6 last year. They just missed the playoffs. Everyone's expecting them to do well. I had them being a fringe playoff team in second place to the Bills, and they're awful. Tua,
I can't.
Show it, man.
Why are they so bad? I can't. I mean, is it just him? Because I know he sucks except for last week.
Their defense has not been playing well. I mean,
touchdown.
Their defense is getting torched most weeks.
It was Cole Beasley.
Oh, so Matt, I have the Raiders schedule coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So they play the Eagles this week.
Win.
They have a bye week at the Giants.
Win.
Yep.
Sunday Night Football home to Kansas City.
Loss.
I bet you they lose to the Eagles.
Versus the Bengals.
That's going to be a good game.
That's going to be a toss-up, yeah.
Is that home or away?
Home. And then, can I say something about this Sunday's game? I think there's going to be a big amount of Philly fans in Vegas this weekend. There's going to be a big amount of Philly fans in Vegas this weekend.
Wouldn't surprise me.
And then after the Bengals, they play on Thanksgiving against the Cowboys in that 4:30 slot.
Oh God, the Cowboys are going to lose that game.
Wait, the Raiders play Thanksgiving
against the Cowboys in Dallas.
That's like an old school. That's a good old school rivalry, though.
That's a good game, but Dallas is going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to go into the Thanksgiving slate right now. I don't know if you know it. We have Detroit, Chicago.
Ugh.
As always.
Vegas, Dallas.
That's good.
And then Bills and Saints.
That's not bad.
Yeah, the first one, they keep doing this with the Lions. They always put they always put the Bears in that slot. I'm pretty sure if you look at it, 3 of the last 4 years, I'm pretty sure it's been Bears and Lions. Last year was Bears and Texans, not Bears and Texans, Lions and Texans on Thanksgiving.
Brutal.
Mix it up a bit. For example, you could have done Lions and Ravens on Thanksgiving. I know they already played this year, and Justin Tucker fucking stomped on the hearts of Lions fans. But I'm just saying, you can put good I'm saying for the NFL, don't be afraid to put good games on Thanksgiving. It's like, for example, how Matt, I know you get pissed off about this often, about how the Giants and the Cowboys always play week 1 or week 2 of the season.
Yeah, they usually do. There was a good 4 or 5 year stretch where it was always week 1 or week 2.
Yeah. So on our fraud subject, I know I'm going to be recording on Wednesday night, and I'll be previewing the week 7 then. But do you see the Cleveland Browns beating the Denver Broncos?
They're so banged up, but they should. I don't think Denver's any good.
I think See, that's a tough one. The Browns are banged up. I think the Browns, even banged up with Baker playing, they're better
Isn't
than
Jarvis
the
Landry coming
Broncos.
back?
Yes,
He'll be
he didn't
back.
play yesterday, but I think he'll be back for this one.
But I know today Baker didn't practice. Odell didn't practice. Chubb and Hunt are both going to be out.
Chubb's not playing again?
Well, they said he has a chance. Hunt, they said, is going to be out for at least 3
Wait.
weeks.
Who's their starting running back then? I need to go add them in fantasy and all my running back depleted teams. Who's going to start for them?
It's a good question.
I have literally no idea who else is on their team.
Fantasy stud Dawson Knox, by the way, this week 1.60 points.
It's boom or bust with all of these people. Oh, that guy probably tore his ACL or his Achilles.
I'm gonna say it might be D'Ernest Johnson.
I'm sorry.
D'Ernest Johnson.
Who?
Exactly.
D'Ernest Johnson. Is he William Cuevas's cousin?
My favorite former Red Sox.
D'Ernest Johnson. Let me see. Wow, nice hair.
Also with this game, over-under is at 42.5. Do you take the over or do you take the under?
Thursday night game, banged up Browns.
They don't
Broncos. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I would go under.
It's going to be like 17-13, 13-10. It's going to be one of those Thursday night games, and you're just like, why do they have games on Thursday?
Okay, so D'Ernest Johnson, Demetric Felton, ready to carry the ball from the Dog Pound Daily. You heard it here first, folks.
So if D'Ernest Johnson has a good day on Thursday, you can thank Matt Lorenzo for that one.
Or Demetric Felton.
But he's already picked them all up in every fantasy league that he's a part of. He's doing it as we speak.
Waiver wires are killing me. I could do it in my league. All the other ones are on waivers.
So I know we haven't talked about it yet. You know, we hit on the Rams and Giants, and we talked a little bit about Kyler. If the season ended today, who's the MVP?
Kyler.
Is it Kyler? I think so.
See, I would lean more towards Stafford.
I think the fact that Stafford's he's recognized and he'll be, I still say this. I wish the NFL had a most improved. That's like, I love that award for the NBA. Like how like Pascal Siakam won in 2019. And then I don't remember who won it 1920, but I know Julius Randle from the Knicks won it this past year. I just like the award because it recognizes improvement. Meanwhile, comeback player of the year, Shereen Williams actually said it one year with Ryan Tannehill when he won. It's like, what did he come back from? Sucking? Like, I know he obviously had the ACLs and stuff. He had the one great year in Tennessee, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like most improved player would be a great award because I feel like with Matt Stafford, it's not most improved, but it's just the fact that, look, he's finally being shown his proper talents. It's just for me, like I think you could put any quarterback in that Rams system and it would work.
Except Jared Goff.
You know what? Yeah. But exactly. They went 10-6 last year with Goff and they got to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. They only missed the playoffs in the McVay Goff era. Only in 2019 did they miss the playoffs.
I don't remember who it was, but there were people out there who thought that the Lions like won that trade because they thought Goff wasn't that much of a downgrade from Stafford and that the Rams wouldn't be that good.
You do realize they're paying him his whole contract, right?
But they thought it was like, it's not that much of a difference in quarterback. I was like,
$35 million.
No, I just mean in skill, like Goff and Stafford. Like, yeah, the Lions will still have the same level of quarterback. Like, no, not even remotely.
With as good as Stafford has been this year, and he's finally, like you said, he's finally getting the recognition for how good he really is. Is anybody even talking about the fact that the Rams gave up 2 first-round picks? No, because he's that good. Like,
the Rams also don't give a shit about the first-round picks.
And Goff is not good. The Rams wouldn't be this good without it. Well, here's the stats.
Dan Campbell actually said yesterday that Goff needs to step up more. Yeah. Like, I'm pretty sure he stepped up as far as he can, Dan.
Yeah, he's not. All right, so here's what's it called? Stafford, 69% completion,
nice,
1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks, 116 rating. And Kyler Murray is 73.8% completion, 17.
He's number 1 in the NFL for completion percentage.
14-4 and a 116.2 rating. So it's pretty close. I mean,
I think there's legitimately 5 quarterbacks that have a shot right now at MVP.
Daniel Jones, Mac Jones.
Obviously the Jones boys.
Yes.
I think Stafford, Kyler, Tom Brady,
disgusting.
Patrick Mahomes, and Dak.
I would put Dak ahead of Mahomes.
Yeah.
You honestly got. If I had a top 3, I would probably go Kyler. No, I'm gonna say 6 just to be like Ramey. I'm gonna go Kyler, Stafford. This is in order: Kyler, Stafford, Herbert, Jackson, Brady, Dak.
Well, Dak's virtually the same: 73.1, 1,800, 16.4, and 115. So it's Stafford, Kyler, and Dak right now.
You know what amazes me about Kyler? He's a completely different quarterback than he was last year. He's not running the ball. He only has like 115 rushing yards. He does not. He stands in the pocket. Yeah. He's throwing the ball, and he's looking great. I was one person, I will honestly say, when he was getting drafted number 1 overall, I shit on him so much. Like he's 5 foot nothing. He should stick to baseball. He's going to be terrible. I was dead wrong.
Weren't you all in on Jalen Hurts though?
I was.
You were so
in on Jalen Hurts being awful. I said Jalen Hurts is going to be. Was it Alex who said he Alex is the one that still thinks Jalen Hurts is amazing. I thought Jalen Hurts was going to be trash.
I can't tell if he's good or not. I honestly have no idea.
Well, his coach is an idiot.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni's like a second coming of Adam Gase.
Brutal.
The one thing I want to say, I'm just trying to think about. Oh yeah, so you know how with the 2020 draft, everyone's going, "Oh, the Dolphins should have taken Tua." Like there was even like Dolphin fans can't come to watch Justin Herbert because they know the pain. Well, I want to give you guys a tidbit.
If he came out of school, the Giants could have had him. I'm still angry about that. So yeah, I get what they're saying.
So I'm gonna give you guys a crazy theory. Not a crazy theory, but a crazy what if. So in 2019, Justin Herbert as a junior was supposed to come out of Oregon, projected to go number 1 overall. Imagine now it would be the same thing. This happens every year with every single draft. It's like 2017, the whole, I can't believe the Bears passed up and fucking were finessed by the 49ers to get Trubisky instead of getting Watson or Mahomes. 2018, you could have said the same thing with the because if you redo a 2018 draft, Josh Allen's going number 1. This happens. That's the only thing I'm saying is this happens every single year. Like it's going to happen now where, should the 49ers have gone Mac Jones over Trey Lance? I'm not biased, but not biased. I also Trey Lance, but Mac Jones is the best rookie quarterback so far this year.
But like nobody thought that they would trade up for Trubisky, let alone like why would they have traded up for him?
They literally traded up 1 pick because
it made no sense.
Have you ever seen it, Matt? I'm going to send you the link later. But Peter King was with the 49ers on draft day in 2017. He was with John Lynch. He was with Kyle Shanahan in Santa Clara. And they literally knew the entire time the 49ers were dead set on Solomon Thomas at 2. They knew how much the Bears wanted to move up. So they literally made the Bears include, I think, 3 other picks just to move up 1 spot in the draft. And the 49ers moved back.
Were the Niners supposed to take a quarterback that? Because I've thought about this a lot. I was like, I don't think they were supposed to take a quarterback. So why?
No, they were not.
And if they were, it was not going to be Trubisky.
Exactly. So they knew how, not desperate, but they knew how much the Bears coveted Trubisky and wanted him. So the 49ers took the bait. I'm gonna pull up the trade.
Is Matt Nagy the worst coach right now? Like, how does he still have a job?
It's Urban Meyer.
I think it's Urban Meyer. It's like 1A and 1B. And then Matt Nagy is just god awful. Dan Campbell, it's 0-6, 0-7, where the hell?
Better coach than both of them.
He's a better coach. I actually like Dan Campbell.
Matt Nagy is horrendous. Like I don't understand the Trubisky trade. But I feel like Justin Herbert was supposed to be good. Everyone knew that. The Josh Allen one, people thought that he had a high ceiling and he'd take time to develop.
So I will say, for me saying that I was dead wrong on Kyler and how I was totally against him going 1 overall, I was all against Tua being a first-round draft pick. I said his hip injury was going to end up costing him. I was saying he should not get picked. So far, he's looking like a bust. He's not quite Josh Rosen bad, but he's not looking good.
He had the good game last week and they still lost.
Josh Rosen looks even worse because of his stupid little soundbite from draft day.
I was just going to say 9 mistakes ahead of me or something like that.
9 mistakes ahead of me. And then also, too, for the fact that that 2018 Arizona Cardinals team was a disaster. Steve Wilkes should have never been a head coach.
So, Matt,
I do have the trade, though, right? He's actually the backup in Atlanta right now. I do have the trade right here from 2017. So San Francisco trades a first-round selection, number 2 to Chicago in exchange for so basically, here's what Chicago had to give up to San Francisco. Pick number 3, a 4th-round selection, which was the 3rd round, 6, and a 4th-round selections, the third round. I don't even get it, this whole thing. So it says, basically, they gave up picks. So, okay, here it is. So they gave up the 3rd overall pick, Chicago,
right.
67, 111, and a 3rd in 2018. 4 draft picks to move up 1 spot. That's not on Matt Nagy. That's on Ryan Pace.
So they didn't give up another first, though, right?
No, they did not. But still
like
1 spot. 1 spot.
And like, you think if the 49ers were willing to trade out of it, they were really going to like take a quarterback? Like,
Yeah. Did you also know that the Bills in the the Mahomes pick, the Bills had the 10th pick that year, traded back to 27th in that draft. Both ended up with great players because the Chiefs got Mahomes. Do you want to know the Bills got in that draft?
ooh.
Do you know either one of you?
Trey White.
Yep, Tre'Davious White.
Well, I mean, the Bills are also the team that traded up to take Sammy Watkins over Mike Evans and Odell. So not exactly a good track record.
I mean, we can't all be the Eagles drafting Jalen Rager over Justin Jefferson.
Oh, God.
That either, yeah.
No. The best one is still 2020. The Green Bay Packers. They thought they were going to get they thought they were going to get Justin Jefferson, and they didn't. Then they thought they were going to get Brandon Ayuk. They didn't get Brandon Ayuk, so then they decided to trade up and draft Jordan Love.
Griff's so angry, banged his mic.
Yep. Have you ever seen the video of Mike Zimmer and Chris Spielman on they were on Zoom, obviously, because the draft was all virtual in 2020. But they thought the Eagles were taking Justin Jefferson, and then the second they did, they started laughing, and they're like, "Yep, send it the pick. Yeah. Like, we're taking Jefferson."
Chris Spielman, former WrestleMania main eventer. Little known fact.
Oh,
is that the Lawrence Taylor year?
Yeah, he was in his corner with like Reggie White and shit.
What was the other one?
You mentioned Brandon Ayuk. He's like a fantasy absolute dud this year.
Oh, dude, he was fucking overhyped.
Like, he was at all
overhyped this year.
Debo's the guy. Like, Ayuk, I think, was going ahead of Samuel, and I got Samuel like way later, and he's clearly number one. They don't use him at all.
Him and Trey Sermon from San Francisco, both overrated fantasy picks.
I would have liked to have seen what Mostert would have done, because it looks like Sermon is just like they're not using him.
Fucking made a glass.
Mostert would have been the starter.
I'm still gonna say this because I feel like for fantasy football for 2022, because even I said this 2021, Christian McCaffrey was still gonna go number one overall, even though I had Derrick Henry. I feel like this year, if for 22, I mean, I don't know how you can trust picking Christian McCaffrey anymore. I feel like
that's why I was actually thinking about this. If I got the number one pick next year, I don't want the number one pick because I'd have to take McCaffrey, and I don't want him.
I take Henry. Hot take 2022. I'm taking Derrick Henry.
We made fun of Alex because he had the second pick in his draft in one league, and he took Henry, and we were like, why wouldn't you take Cook or Kamara? And it's turning out to be Derrick Henry. How he's not dead yet? Ramey's convinced he's dying this year at some point.
But he has to. Anytime anybody ever rushes or gets as many carries as Derrick Henry has gotten over the last few years, they end up falling off a cliff.
Especially after 2,000 yards. It makes
so far through, into week 6, he's not falling off any cliff. He's actually running through mountains. It seems like he's 100 amazing.
Yards up on he hadn't even played through week 6, and he was already 100 yards up on second place.
He's already got 640 yards. I don't think this counts.
Well, that was going into today, so he's over 700.
7 touchdowns, and he's also got 14 catches. So
he's basically on pace for 2,200 rushing yards and 24 touchdowns.
I mean, it would be the first.
Why don't we give him MVP consideration?
We
talked about the quarterbacks. Where's the Derrick Henry talk?
Right?
Offensive player of the year. Offensive player of the year.
No one's ever done the 2,000 yards back-to-back years rushing.
No.
It's going to happen more often now because of 18 games. A lot of these records are going to get broken. And I know there's going to be a lot of people who are on both sides of the fence saying that it's only because of 18, or the people are saying, you know what, good for them.
17. Yeah. That's the one reason I don't like the extra game, is because it's going to skew all the stats and stuff like that, but it's an extra week of football. So,
well, I mean, the season's a third of the way over. Obviously we have the MVP talk. I mean,
that's fucking sad to think about.
Yeah,
comeback player of the year. It really is kind of, there's only 11 weeks left. The comeback player of the year, just ship it to Dak right now. It's him. He could not play another down this year, and he's comeback player of the year. Defensive player of the year, it's Trey Diggs. I'm sorry, just end the season now. It's Trey Diggs.
I can't tell if he's good or not, if he's just having one of those magical seasons.
He's an absolute ball hawk, but that 75-yard touchdown that happened after his pick 6 was 100% his fault. That was his man, and he blew the coverage.
Yeah.
The overhead safety should have helped him, but it's on Diggs.
What about coach of the year? What about coach of the year?
Better not be Mike McCarthy. I'd say Cliff Kingsbury.
I feel like it has to be, at least right now.
I was on Brandon Staley up until yesterday, and then I'm going Cliff Kingsbury.
I also give Harbaugh a lot of credit. They lost 48 running backs in preseason.
Dude, they have the most man games lost due to injury, and
they're amazing.
Their starting running back trio are Latavius Murray, Lev Bell, and freaking Devonta Freeman. What?
Is this a bit of a hot take to say, but I think John Harbaugh is one of the more underrated not underrated, but underappreciated head coaches in the NFL.
Oh, completely.
He's also been with the Ravens since 2006, I believe.
He's been there forever. Like, yeah, wasn't there talk a few years where they were going to get rid of him?
Dude, it's the same shit.
I would take him in a heartbeat.
Dude, it's literally the same thing as Mike Tomlin. Those are coaches that if they were to get fired for some reason, coaches would fire someone on their staff to go hire them.
I feel like Mike Tomlin's more of an idiot sometimes than Harbaugh. I feel like Harbaugh doesn't really make mistakes.
Well, I mean,
no, but you know what I mean,
The only
though.
thing that Tomlin does is he's still playing Ben Roethlisberger, who he should not play anymore. He's not good. I can throw the ball further than Ben Roethlisberger. Look how tiny my hands are.
Why did they think that bringing him back, even like, well, he's still making $15 million, which is a reduced salary? Why did they think that was a good idea?
Because he's like a product. Like, and here's the other thing. Here's three things about the Steelers. One is in my two early takes going into the year was that Pittsburgh and Seattle were going to miss the playoffs. So far, I'm probably going to go. I think I'll go 2 for 2 on that one at this rate, unless Pittsburgh plays. Pittsburgh's defense literally just can't fuck up. That's the only reason why they'll be bad.
If TJ Watt gets hurt again, they're screwed.
Exactly. The other ones is I still respect the Steelers because they've only had 3 coaches since 1969. Fun fact. I'm going to throw in a third and a fourth, actually. The other one is that if Terry Bradshaw played in today's NFL, he would have been out of the league 5 years ago. If you look at his stats, he was not exactly good.
If Troy Aikman played in today's game, he'd be dead.
It's like Joe Namath. Joe Namath may be one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. You know, he finished with 30 more interceptions and touchdowns.
He's not good. He's only good
because he won that one Super Bowl. That's what he's known for. And everybody overhypes him to thinking that he was this great quarterback. Same with Terry Bradshaw. He would have been out of the league quicker than anything. He would have been Johnny Manziel.
It's like Bill Mazeroski in baseball. He made the Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee because of one home run. Like, he's not good.
And, you know, Cowboy fans always say that, you know, Troy Aikman's the best quarterback in their history.
Tony Romo's
is world's better.
Years.
Tony Romo's better. Roger Staubach is better. Aikman, third. And frankly, I'd have Dak ahead of him now.
That's why I think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer. Because, like, you give Aikman a Hall of Fame because he has 3 rings. Well, Eli's got 2 and much better stats.
I also think Eli, too, is the name. Like, if Eli was – like, say if you had Trent Dilfer win you 2 Super Bowls. Or if Kerry Collins won 2 Super Bowls.
Well, if he doesn't – I don't think Eli gets in just because of that. He's retired top 10 in passing yards and top 10 in touchdowns. Yeah. So I think he gets in. I
think it's just because of the back 9 of his career, basically after the Super Bowl, how bad it went. Is the fact that some people are skeptical, but
did him no favors. It wasn't on him. It was the team, except for 1 year, they did nothing to help him.
But at the same time, too, I feel like John Mara had such a love affection for him that it was like,
well, he's the best quarterback in franchise history.
Would you put him above Phil Simms?
Oh, far and away above Phil Simms.
Or what's the other guy?
Phil Simms technically only has 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, who's the other guy? Jamie something.
Jeff Hostetler?
Jeff Hostetler, yes.
He's the backup quarterback who won the 2nd Super Bowl.
Who a young Chris Simms once put shaving cream in his cleats.
I didn't know that.
I listen to one of my work podcasts every day is Pro Football Talk with Florio and Simms. I know the two of them have some fucking wacky takes, but it's fun to hear them banter and stuff.
Chris Simms. What a disappointment he must have been to Phil.
I mean,
go ahead.
He's built a pretty good TV career, though. He has built.
Yeah. And Orlovsky's built a pretty good TV career too.
Some people, I love it going on Twitter. Literally, I've interacted with him a handful of times. People will literally go on and be like, "You were a fucking scrub quarterback. What do you know?" The guy knows his shit. Like, that's why all these like head coaches and stuff are players who were never good. Like, you could never see Tom Brady being a head coach. That's why guys like Byron Leftwich are good coordinators. That's why Kellen Moore, exactly.
Look at all the analysts. Most of them are not like Hall of Fame amazing.
You know, Dak Prescott should be sending Kellen Moore a fruit basket every freaking week because when Romo got hurt, Kellen Moore was the backup, and then Kellen Moore broke his leg, and that's how Dak got the job.
Idiot.
Or, I mean, he could send him one of those edible arrangement baskets. The edible fruit.
Yeah, that would work too.
Yeah. Or he could
Dan Orlovsky, greatest UConn quarterback in history.
Yes, or if Kellen wanted like seafood, Dak could send him some shrimps, and Kellen could go, "No way, that's the shrimp."
Oh my god! I thought you were gonna say crab legs, and I was like, "Wait, that's Jameis."
No, that's Deshaun Payton. But no, that's the whole thing with all these guys. Like, even look at Bill Belichick; he was never really a great quarterback. Matt, I will argue this though. The only panels
Belichick played quarterback.
No, but like, you know what I mean. He was never like a star football player or anything. His dad was a head coach. But with the panels, though, if you look at it, the only ones where I'd say you have successful players on it is NFL Network and probably Fox, where there's like more than one guy.
Fox has 3 Hall of Famers.
Bradshaw, Strahan,
and was it Kurt Menefee?
Howie Long.
Kurt Menefee, Brett Boone, World Series hero. I'll never forget that as long as my life lives.
Wait, what?
When Aaron Boone hit the walk-off home run against the Red Sox in
2003,
he interviewed Aaron Boone, and after it, he goes, Brett Boone, World Series hero. First of all, it's Aaron Boone. Second of all, it's the ALCS. I will never forget that as long as I live. Kurt Menefee, he's made a nice career for himself. Remember when it was James Brown and like Jimmy, Howie, Terry? Fox is the best pregame. That's the one I watch.
You know where I know the fact that James Brown was on, also to Chris Collinsworth at one point was on the Fox panel.
Yep.
I only know about James Brown because I remember the Simpsons did it when Fox first got the NFL back. I think in like 1994, there was like a behind the scenes thing. I think it was Bart and Homer. Like it was animated, obviously, but then they had like Terry Bradshaw involved, and that's where James Brown was.
Yeah.
The only other panel I'd say where you have more successful players is obviously NFL Network, where you have fucking Michael Irvin, Kurt Warner. Who else is on there? And then like Steve Mariucci, I feel like okay head coach. No, Dion's not. Dion's with Barstool. He is Barstool in his coaching.
I can't stand Barstool. I hate Barstool.
Well, then you're gonna hate this because it's a hockey crossover, but I'm wearing my Spin Chicklets hoodie.
Oh, they're just scum.
Who does ESPN have? They got Moss and what? Booger McFarland.
Booger.
I have a hot take. I have a hot take with that.
Oh, here we go.
I prefer the Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland Monday Night Football announcing team compared to what they have right now. I cannot fucking stand Brian Greasy.
I'll be honest.
I prefer the Manning cast.
Who are the announcers right now for Monday Night Football?
Steve Levy, Louis Riddick, and Brian Greasy. Levy and Riddick are okay. Brian Riddick's like, you know, when you're at a party and there's like an awkward guy that just stands there and will just blurt out random shit for no reason. Or he's like saying,
Grip, that's you and me.
Fuck off.
That's us. What are you talking about? Of course I know that.
So you know how, I do that. That's Brian Greasy, where I'll just be like, and yeah, you know, this guy
also A-Rod.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you see the Sunday Night Baseball where he said something and Vasgersian just goes, well, that's really random or something like that? And he just said, like, it makes no sense. Why would you?
You know, Vasgersian's leaving Sunday Night Baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I literally retweeted that going, Santa Maria.
Have you watched the Manning cast, Griff?
No, I don't know how to up here.
I thought it was so dumb. Like, why would you ever watch it? It is the best thing I've ever seen. It's
I thought it was going to be terrible.
Good.
It's so entertaining.
So I think Eli's funnier than Peyton is.
They need to fire Troy Aikman and just hire Eli Manning to be with Joe Buck.
He's incredible. He's so funny.
Can I be? So I've heard about it. You know why I feel like it's better than like the actual Monday Night announcing team? Because when they're calling it, they're not trying to be broadcasters. They're just being themselves.
They're quarterbacks.
They're quarterbacks. So they're viewing the game from what they see it. So they know it. I just love the fact too, and they'll bring in like random guests and stuff. Like, who was it? They brought in someone and they were like having this conversation, and it was just like completely off to the side. I think it was week 2 or week 3.
There was a lot of guests, and they just talk about random stuff, and they'll call the game. And Peyton was like, I think he's called Joe Buck an idiot inadvertently, where he was like, if I'm talking to you, Eli, and I make a mistake, you know. But if Troy Aikman makes a mistake, Joe Buck doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, so he'll be fine.
The one I was thinking about was Gronk saying he didn't read his playbook, and everyone made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
Or really, when in reality, it was just his wife giving him shit for always reading his playbook.
So you don't get ESPN2 in Canada?
No. So basically, do you know TSN?
Yeah.
So I get that's how I watch Thursday night, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football.
TSN.
Is through TSN. But I still get like all I get ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox at my old house. What? Pardon me?
You get Red Zone?
Yes, but I don't have a channel. We have an app up here called DAZN, which is DAZN.
Oh yeah, we have that.
Yeah, through DAZN, I get Red Zone. My mom and like I watched it with like my parents and my grandfather before. They find it the most fucking confusing thing in the world because my mom will be like, "Wait, weren't you just watching another game?" And I have to explain to her.
Red Zone's the best thing to happen to the NFL, I think, ever. Like, it's the best.
I tweeted this out on Saturday, but I feel like imagine if they did that Saturday nights for hockey, where they did like a red zone equivalent, where it's just like.
Apparently, you could do that on ESPN Plus now. Like I think you can do that. I saw somebody watching a bunch of different games, except I don't think you can do your local games, which is a whole other story.
Yeah, I wasn't too on a non-hockey note, on a non-football note, excuse me. I wasn't too impressed with the first game with ESPN with Sean McDonough and Ray Ferraro. Like, I love Ray Ferraro, but it was just non-emotion. But then Bucci Gross was calling the second one, and that was so much better.
Sean McDonough doing hockeys. They couldn't have just gotten Gary Thorne. Like,
I wish they got Gary. Gary Thorne should just call everything.
I long for Gary Thorne. Like, besides Doc, he's the best ever.
He's too depressed over the Baltimore Orioles.
He doesn't even work there anymore.
Rid of him is just unbelievable.
It makes no sense. He's so good at baseball and hockey. It's incredible.
Yeah, there's certain guys who can cross over to certain sports. Like that's what the one thing I'll say though about my Booger McFarland, Joe Tessitore take, when it was with Jason Witten, it was terrible when they had Booger on the fucking Booger mobile.
Oh, Jason Witten.
Jason Witten was literally a fucking robot.
Oh my God, that's one man that should never get into sports broadcasting.
I'm gonna hold the mic up. It was like this.
Yeah, we're here in Oakland calling the Oakland Raiders and the Los Angeles Rams. It's good. You know, Joe, we're here. This gonna go out. We're gonna have a good game of football. We're all gonna have fun.
That was Jason Witten for the 2018 season. When they went to Tess and Booger, I was fine with it. But even too, Booger would do he would do things. Like I remember there was one time in the playoffs with Bills Texans, he's like, these guys are coming, and these guys are coming from the outside. He actually drew a penis with a telestrator because they'll do the lines and they'll just do the circle and the circles. That's why I know you guys aren't a fan of Barstool, but Barstool will point shit like that out, and I find it absolutely hilarious.
I'm convinced that the whole reason why they had the Booger mobile when Jason Witten was in the broadcast booth was because Booger was like, he's fucking terrible. I'm going to punch him in the face if you have me anywhere near him. So they just had him as far away as possible.
I
just felt bad for the guy. There was a video actually of the famous Giants fan. I think his name's License Plate Guy.
Yeah.
And there's a famous video that went viral. Booger on the Booger mobile. And he was at a game. I think it was in Atlanta. And literally all you see is Booger blocking him. And there's a TV where you can watch the game. And all it is just him. Booger, get out of the way. Imagine paying hundreds of dollars for your tickets and you're
just to watch Booger McFarland.
You're watching his bald head. He's just there and you have there's a fucking 50 or 60 inch TV on the back of it. So it's hey, yeah, no. So instead of actually watching the actual game that you paid to be here for, here's the ESPN feed.
But they should pay the Mannings whatever, let them do all 17 games, or however many Monday Night Football games there are.
Are they doing tonight's or?
I don't think their next game is for another couple weeks.
They're back next week. They were off for 4 weeks because the NFL only paid for 10 weeks of it, or the ESPN only paid for 10 weeks for them. And not realizing how good and how popular they'd be, you think they would have added more games.
Eli doing
all the money ESPN is worth.
Eli did the Dak hip thing. It was the best.
Well, I've seen that, but I'm going to go off on a different subject because I actually want you guys to guess who you think my favorite. I have a favorite NFL team, but I also have a favorite just overall announced team of all time. For who you think each is. Who do you think it is?
Wait, your favorite NFL announced team?
Yeah, because the other one too. I was going to say another one, but because my favorite college team obviously is Fowler and Herb Street.
They're great.
You seem like a big Kenny Albert guy. Do you like Kenny Albert?
Kenny Albert has a special place in my heart because of the bat flip. He was the one to call that.
He's very good too.
But dude, I didn't realize how much shit he calls. He fucking calls NFL. He calls MLB. He calls Rangers radio. Yeah. He has the NHL and NTNT. And he does the fucking Knicks too, doesn't he?
I feel like he does some Knicks.
Or I think he fills in when Breen's off.
The Knicks have been, my teams have been pretty good. We had the Devils had Doc for years, the regional announce guy,
and Chico Rush
guy, and the Knicks have Mike Breen, who's the national announce guy. So I've gotten lucky with some good commentators.
I think Kenny Albert too is going to replace Sam Rosen with the Rangers once he's done. And then Don LaGreca will take over for Kenny on the radio side. No, my favorite, I'll just say my favorite NFL team of all time has to be probably Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
I do. I miss Phil Simms. I miss Phil Simms. He got screwed because
Tony's great. Tony's great, but it was just something about that. And I always love it too. And Phil would have Jim would come in with this. Jim obviously also calls golf. And when he just comes, he's like, "Hello, friends, Jim Nantz, Phil Simms."
Yeah.
And it's it just has a big game. It had a big game feel. It still does with Romo.
Yeah.
But I felt the only complaint I had about Romo yesterday, I feel like he was showing a little too, his cowboyness was coming out a little too much.
He when they showed him at the goal line getting that touchdown pass to Witten, and they showed Dak getting the touchdown pass to Jarwin, and Romo was just going back into time. That was my favorite throw. Shut the hell up, Tony. I'm a huge Tony Romo guy, but dude.
I had the same thing 2 years ago when the Patriots and Cowboys played and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were calling the game. I wanted to shoot myself.
I hate Joe Buck and Troy Aikman as an announced team.
Really?
I cannot stand Aikman. Cannot stand Aikman.
You don't think he's a good analyst?
Joe Buck on baseball, I like. Joe Buck on football, I don't like.
I don't really mind him. I just
See,
I just like his voice.
Joe
good
Buck
starting
in
voice.
football, I don't like. And I think that's more biased because I can't stand Troy Aikman as an analyst, which is weird coming from a Cowboy fan.
Why? But
Joe
why?
Buck in baseball, when he's with John fucking Smoltz. Oh my God.
Has he had two worse partners at Tim McCarver and John Smoltz now? Like
Tim
was
McCarver
like-
looks like freaking John Madden and Pat Summerall
well,
compared
he'd
to
say
John
stupid
Smoltz.
things, but he'd get excited at least. John Smoltz is just like fucking
John
dead
Smoltz
inside.
hates the game of baseball.
Like
The Red Sox are murdering the Astros 9-3 right now.
Again?
Yeah. It's
but
the
why
bottom of the
do you
fifth.
hate Troy Aikman as an analyst?
I didn't hate him in the moment. I just like my because obviously my dad's a Saints fan. Whenever he calls a Saints game, he always like my dad hates them because he feel like they're always kind of biased against the Saints. And then I just didn't like it in that one Cowboy game when it was like they just felt like Troy's Cowboy colors were kind of showing. But I will say this because Joe Buck actually does have one of my favorite calls of all time when the Diggs one.
Oh yeah,
The
I mean,
Diggs walk
even
off
he
touchdown.
had to get excited for that.
Yeah, because but he was just like his voice was ready to fucking
Yeah,
go. 'Cause it
crack.
was just,
Yeah.
Diggs sideline touchdown.
But then, Ramey,
Unbelievable.
why do you hate Troy Aikman? What did he do to you?
He
fondled him in LaGuardia Airport when he was 12.
I have a funny Troy.
it was
Aikman
actually
story when
JFK and I
was
was 9, but
JFK.
After he sat on some bunch of crunch.
Oh God.
wow.
While
that
you're
took
thinking
that
about
took a turn.
there was a Thanksgiving game. They had the thing that Santa has on the side of the road where you like put quarters in and whatever. And they were doing it for the Salvation Army or something.
Oh, the kettlebell stuff?
Yeah, and it was on. They were doing it on TV, and Troy Aikman walks on stage and puts a quarter in the bucket. I've hated him ever since. I was like, why do you have him do that? It's a millionaire, and you just had to put a quarter for charity. And I'm just like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and I can't stand Troy Aikman.
See, I don't think he's really objective as an analyst. I think, whenever the Cowboys play, I do think he has been prone to be biased towards Dallas and excusing poor decisions or things that Jerry Jones has done, because obviously he has an affection for Jerry Jones.
I've never noticed it, but that probably makes sense. I guess I just tune him out.
And then, as someone who is a Cowboy fan, my entire family is Giants fans. Whenever the Giants are on Fox and Troy Aikman is calling the game, I feel like the man hates everything about the Giants. And it's probably because he was a Cowboy. Just the bias he has against some teams in my mind. And, it could be because he played and he just had, bad experience with the stadium or the fans or whatever it might be. I don't think he's objective.
You think he would be not bitter considering he won 3 Super Bowls, and
He got carried to 3 Super Bowls. Emmitt Smith and the defense carried him to 3 Super Bowls.
I mean, he had a Hall of Fame running back, Hall of Fame wide receiver, great defense, good tight end. Yeah.
Do you know? I'm going to say a couple things. One, with analysts and stuff, Drew Brees has been doing too bad of a job, even though he got the now canceled Brian Urlacher haircut.
I think he's been pretty good.
Drew Brees has been fine. I was just making a joke because how his hairline just came back all of a sudden. Like
he got them hair implants.
Like John Cena.
Like remember Brian Urlacher when he was bald his entire playing career, and then he just comes back one day with a head of hair, and then he said I forget what he said, but I think it was like basically anti-BLM stuff or whatever, and kind of like went off the rails there. But no, the other thing I was gonna say about analysts, there is one guy right now who's rising up the ranks really fast, and that's Nate Burleson. He's got everything. He's got the personality. He's got everything to him.
Yeah, I see a lot about him, and I've never really. What is he on the CBS pregame or something like that? I can't.
Well, he was on Good Morning Football with obviously Pete Schrager, Kyle Brandt, and I feel like a lot of NFL fans like Woman Crush Kay Adams. And then he left, and then I know you and my dad both. And then he left that to do CBS this morning. So he's basically doing the same shit Michael Strahan's doing. Because even look, which I'm going to go on another note. One of the worst April Fool's pranks of all time was Michael Strahan.
I didn't know that was fake, and I like months later I was like, Ramey, did you know he didn't get it fixed? And I was like, wait. He's like, wait, what? Like, why?
He releases a video like 3 days before April Fool's Day, and then on April Fool's Day, he's like, I'm never getting rid of the gap. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, I figured you'd want to do that. Maybe it's his trademark and he likes it. I know Aaron Judge got rid of the gap.
It was 2 weeks ago. You texted me saying Strahan fixing his gap was a prank. It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago. I just looked up the text. It was 2 weeks ago.
Wow,
Can I tell you
I didn't
something?
realize it was that soon.
I'm not doing this to make fun of the guy. So this episode will probably come out in the next, it's 10:27 right now. We're probably gonna wrap it up soon, but episode's gonna come out soon. What do we think we're not doing this to rib on the guy, but Matt, when Randy tweets us saying what he thinks of the podcast, what do you think he uses the words phenomenal, best ever, or amazing?
My favorite is tremendous.
Or tremendous.
Whenever I get something mentioning how tremendous I am, it boosts my ego. I'm tremendous. That's like a word you got to go out of your way to say. You're not good. You're not great. You're tremendous. So if Randy, if you're listening, well, actually, does he tweet when the podcast drops, or does he listen to it all?
No, he listens and then he'll tweet.
So
unless he's really excited for an episode, then he'll send a message being
I don't want to force his hand. I just said I like tremendous, but Randy, I want you to give your honest to God, best word you possibly can on how you thought this episode went. And if it sucked, then you can feel free to say that. Say it was tremendously bad. On the EST podcast, the shittiest. Say that if you want to. If it sucked, I want to know the honest truth, because Randy's a nice guy. Even if he thinks it sucked, he'll try to.
Derrick Henry just scored another touchdown. He's got 125 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Alex texted us that he's having a monster game, so I ignored that.
He's absolutely going off. And Griff, you had mentioned Nate Burleson. Yes, I remember the Nickelodeon game that he called in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
with Iron Eagle's son Noah.
Which they're doing that again this year. And I didn't realize that Nate Burleson has a weekly NFL series on Nickelodeon that just started a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that's kind of gone unnoticed. The only thing I'll say about this Nickelodeon series, I remember Kurt Warner tweeted about his son watching his first ever football game. And someone basically went after me. They're going, what's wrong with you? Why does your son watch football? And then he basically burned him by because Kurt, I didn't realize this until last night too, but Kurt Warner and his wife support adults with disabilities, because one of Kurt Warner's kids, I believe, he's either blind or he's mentally disabled, and basically clap back with that. And the guy had to go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So it's just one of those things where it's you gotta step up on the internet.
That was my first thought. So why is his son not watch a football game until now?
It was, but it's things you say. It's you think it, you don't say it.
You don't tweet it. I'm like, you stupid idiot. You played in the NFL. Why isn't your kid watching?
Yeah, you're an NFL Hall of Famer. Why the fuck doesn't your kid watch football? No, it's you got to learn. There's more to the story, but no. The Nickelodeon thing, some people thought it was stupid. The only complaint I would have is don't do it for the playoffs again. Do it for week 17 or a meaningless week 18 game.
I thought it was dumb until I saw it, and then all the effects and stuff, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
It was fucking cool. I was pissed we couldn't get it live in Canada. I was just following along on Twitter. It looked dope.
A meaningless week 18. Can we get it for next week for Falcons Dolphins?
Oh, please.
That would get me to watch.
That's what you should do. Exactly.
For a terrible game like that, give me the Nickelodeon thing. I would watch that.
Do you guys remember last year they did a game it was the Bengals and the Steelers Monday Night Football, and they had the Muppets involved in it. And I remember going to the game and being oh fuck, I'm not going to watch this game. This game's going to be awful. I watched it all and it was a great game, because that's the thing with the NFL. It's always the games we think that are going to suck turn out to be great, and it's the games that we think are going to be great end up sucking, like Ravens, Chargers, and Browns, Cardinals.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what, Matt? I'm going to change the name of the title. Can I go with I'm Tremendous instead? You think that works?
Let's do something. What's a title a tremendously awesome podcast or
Tremendous
something like
Trio.
That. Ooh, the Tremendous Trio. I like that.
The Tremendous Trio.
I like that. Yes.
Because guys, we have to do this again. The three of us. This was a lot of fun.
We have to go another 9 minutes. Can we get to 2 hours? Do you have another question? Something to get us 2 hours?
Okay. I'm gonna go around the room.
Damn it, Matt! I wanted to be done.
But I said, hey, you're so close to 2 hours.
You know what? We're so close. If we feel like we can get there, we can get there.
Because once I get started doing this stuff, it's fun to do. It's getting started. Once you're into it, now it's let's do this. Yeah. Let's do this for 5 hours. Let's go. Yeah.
So is there actually a timer where it says the
on my Zoom, it's at 1 hour and 52 minutes.
Oh, mine doesn't.
How is it on Matt's Zoom and I don't have it?
Yeah, I'm not even the host. Yeah,
I'm the host. And I don't even have it.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys each a coach, and Matt, I don't want you saying judge for obvious reasons. One NFL coach you think that will be fired at the end of the year for the both. We'll go around the room and do all three of us. But
does it have to wait till the end of the season?
No, not the end of the season, but a coach that you basically think they'll be gone by the end of 2021 or after the 2021 season.
Well, I said
can we just say anybody but Matt Nagy, because we all know Matt Nagy's going to be gone.
How about this?
What happened?
No Joe Judge, no Urban Meyer, no Matt Nagy.
But what if the Bears are decent? Do they keep Matt Nagy? Like he just seems like a really bad coach.
They're 3-3. And think about it too. He has not had a losing season in 3 years with the Bears. He was 12-4, and he said 2 years of 8-8.
But he's so bad. It's insane to me. Who gets fired? I'm leaning towards Belichick.
I can see Belichick potentially retiring, but I think he's got a golden goose with Mac Jones.
They're never firing him.
I think Mac Jones. They need to let Mac Jones loose. That deep pass he had yesterday, I know it was a blown coverage. Let the guy throw.
Well, he only threw 21 passes, right? Like, can he throw? I don't know. I don't even know.
That deep ball, that 75, he had some air on that. He had zip to it. Let him loose. Let him loose.
Same thing with Daniel Jones. Let him loose. Let him throw. And they're not doing it.
They would drop it.
Who's going to get fired? Who's the Texans coach?
Well,
David Cawley. I don't think he's going to get fired because he's also old, so I could see him just retiring. If they had Deshaun Watson, here I'm going to throw one out to you. Obviously, you have the normal ones like an Urban Meyer, Matt Nagy.
The ones Griff said you can't use.
I could see Vrabel. I don't think the Titans are that good. I think they're going to end up being like 6-11. I could see Vrabel going.
I got one, and this is one that I've been on for a while. Vic Fangio from Denver. I know he's old.
Yeah,
he's a great defensive coordinator. Denver needs an offensive-minded head coach. I feel
like he's on the hot seat to start the season too. That's a good one.
The Denver Broncos have been a bit of a dumpster fire organization ever since Peyton retired. Because if you also go back and look in the 1970s, they missed the playoffs, I think, like 6 times in like 30 plus years.
Well, weren't they bad until they got Elway?
They pretty much, and then that's what I'm saying. They had a bad spell. Then they got Elway. Then they were good. Even through the 2000s too, with like fucking Jake Plummer and Kyle Orton, they were fine. Where they were like at least decently consistent. I believe it was they always finished with either 500 or above. But with Vic Fangio, like, look, he's good. He's been there for 3 years. But this Broncos team is just they are who we thought they were. From one of my favorite NFL sound bites of all time. They are who we thought they were. Another one I have is Brian Flores, actually.
I feel like he's a really good coach, though.
He is, but man, if they fail expectations and miss the playoffs by a lot, like what excuse do you have for that?
At this rate, I think they're going to go 3-14. I don't see a lot of W's on their schedule.
If they don't win Sunday, that's a big fucking problem. If they go 1-6,
realistically, can they make the playoffs after going 1-5? I don't think so. Especially they have zero shot at winning the division.
No, they have zero shot. The only other one I'm going to give to you is, I want to say Mike Zimmer, but that's low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
What about Rule from the Panthers?
No, I think he's only the second year. This might be a bit of a wild card, but Kyle Shanahan.
They are underachieving, or are they just not good?
Dude, they've had one good season since him and Lynch have arrived. And yes, they went to the Super Bowl, but they literally have, besides the Super Bowl season, they've missed the playoffs every other year.
Ramey, did you have them coming in first or second?
I had them coming in first.
Yeah, I was going to say that's pretty rough.
I thought their defense and all the injuries last year was a big reason. I underestimated how good the Cardinals would be. I knew the Rams would be good. I thought Seattle was going to come in third. I didn't think San Francisco would be the bottom of it with the Seahawks.
Oh, I got another one, but it's not a firing. It's a mutual parting of ways.
Can you just say Mike McCarthy? Please say Mike McCarthy.
I was going to say, although if the Dallas Cowboys do have a great regular season, but crap out in the wild card round or the divisional round, I could see it being like, when the Yankees fired Joe Girardi and brought in Aaron Boone, I could see it being like that. My other one that's a bit of a wild card is Pete Carroll. That's what I'm saying, like mutual parting of ways, like where he retires, because and also too, I keep saying this, I think Russ is gone after this year. I think the Seahawks are going to rebuild for real.
Didn't he just sign a deal?
Well, there was rumors he wanted to be traded anyway.
Yeah. I wanted him on the Giants.
And now Seattle's locked in that awful Jamal Adams contract, who's been shit ever since he got there. Like, the more we think about it, Joe Douglas looks like a fucking genius for that trade.
I feel like they would have to part ways. I don't think they would ever fire him.
No, that's what I'm saying. It would be like,
I think
handshake, like mutual. I always find mutual parting of ways of just a polite way of saying someone's fired. The only other one I'm going to say is
Tom Coughlin. That's basically, they forced him to retire.
Exactly. Frank Reich could be another one that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that was the only other one I could see, because they're sort of pretty bad.
I didn't realize Pete Carroll is 70. He's
old.
He's pretty old. He's the oldest NFL coach, I think.
Yeah.
Him, Bruce Arians, and Bill Belichick are the three oldest.
Did you hear what Mike Tomlin said about this quarterback? He said he doesn't want a rookie quarterback. He wants a like established veteran. So like if they wanted to completely rebuild and he was against that, I could see them maybe firing him, but they don't seem to.
They don't fire coaches.
Yeah,
Chuck Noll retired. Bill Cowher retired.
It's
like that's the thing, Matt. 3 coaches in 53 years.
I remember I wanted Bill Cowher to be the Giants coach for like 10 years straight.
So we know that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be a Packer next year.
Do we though? Maybe he's having the time of his life.
I doubt it. I think he hates LaFleur. I think he's going to go to the Steelers. Ben's going to retire. Really? The Steelers are going to trade for Rodgers, and Tomlin's going to win another Super Bowl.
I have a wild card for where Aaron Rodgers is going to go.
I wouldn't even if with Rodgers. I don't know if this
Houston Texans for Deshaun Watson.
Could you imagine
the Giants?
Oh my God!
I cannot see the Packers trading him within the conference. They'll ship him to the AFC. I would also kill myself if Aaron Rodgers went to the Giants.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't matter. He's been on great Packers teams and he still can't win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he'll still beat the Cowboys.
Well, that's the thing though. The defense isn't been terrible. Matt, the only year he won a Super Bowl is when the Packers had that great defense with like BJ Raji and shit.
That's the
only year.
Jones has shown enough to where they're not going to take a quarterback or trade for a quarterback.
I think they're going to use those picks and just keep trading down. I could see the world where they do that, where they accumulate, kind of like what Philly did last year.
Well, we need to fix the defense again, and we still need to solidify the offensive line. I don't know why it's so hard.
You might need a running back too, because Saquon's looking like he's made of glass.
I would say you guys need a center, and you need to replace. Well, obviously the Nick Gates injury hurt a lot. But I would say you need is Nick Gates center or is he guard?
He's a center, I think, right?
Yeah. So you have him.
I don't even know my own guys.
I was like Shane Lemieux is not NFL quality.
Basically everybody besides Andrew Thomas.
You need to give Nate Solder extend his contract another 5 years.
That's one of the worst signings. I mean, we had to do it because he was literally the only guy out there, but that's one of the worst signings in franchise history.
New England Patriots legend. He was a first-round pick for the Patriots.
He's a first-round loser for the Giants now.
But it looks like Andrew Thomas is actually good. So you could build around him, use one of I think we might use both picks on tackles because we have nothing.
There this year for drafting though, like I've looked at it so far, there's not a whole the quarterback class. There's not a whole lot of guys who I look out at and say
Spencer Rattler, baby.
Fuck no.
All over him.
Fuck no. Spencer Rattler's horrible.
Yeah.
I already had someone come on here and say, friend of the show, Keegan Stiefel, who actually follows the Awesome Lorenzo Bros and knows you guys. He found.
I know that name. Yeah.
Keegan Stiefel, good friend of the show. He was on the 100th episode too, Matt. As I think we're about to hit 2 hours.
We are officially at 2 hours.
Okay, so I'll say before I wrap up, I'm going to say this. He was telling me that Spencer Rattler should wait another year before he comes out because the only quarterback so far, and Markeem came on my show a few weeks ago and said this, actually 2 weeks ago and said this, that Matt Corral, the kid from Old Miss, is the only guy who really can be a solid NFL quarterback in his career. But there is a guy I want you to look up his film at, Tyler Lindenbaum. He's an offensive lineman from Iowa. You should be all over him.
Is he going to go? I mean, we'll probably have a top 2 pick.
Dude, no, he's not going to go top 2. It'll probably be a quarterback, and it'll be Kayvon Thibodeau. I can even see a world where remember 2016 when the Browns and I don't forget who had the second pick, but the who was it? Oh yeah, the Rams and the Eagles traded up to get Goff and Wentz, guys who didn't really pan out. Yeah. I can see a world where something like that happens, where you have those okayish fringe teams who need quarterbacks trade up for 1 and 2 and sell the farm.
I wouldn't mind if the Giants did that. If they end up with a top 5 pick and somebody wants to come take a shitty quarterback, we traded back.
That's what I'm saying you can do. So then you can probably get 2 first-round picks for that, kind of like what we saw fucking Miami do. And then they obviously moved around, and then look what Philly did this year.
We did it last year. We got Tony, who's turning out to be that one game against Dallas. If he can stay healthy, he looks pretty damn good. So that was smart. Although the Bears pick might not be as good as we thought it would be, but
I still feel like that Bears pick could be I'd say somewhere between 15 to probably 21 or 22.
That's what I'm thinking. If they keep doing what they're doing and they stay 500, it's going to be in the middle, which it's better than not having a second first round pick, but not as good as we thought we could have 2 top 10 picks, which
when the Lions have the number 1 pick, are they going to draft a quarterback? They got Goff.
They have 2 first round picks. Just remember
that.
Just
as good as Stafford from what I heard. So I don't know.
Remember this for this year. So there's two teams that I want you guys to watch out for with big first round picks. That's Philly, obviously, because they have
Three of
fucking
them.
They have
Apple
three
Watch.
top 10 picks.
They have 3 top 10 picks. Dude, the other one who could have 2 top 10 picks potentially is the New York Jets. Remember, they got Seattle's first round pick.
That's right, for the Jamal Adams trade.
Yeah.
Oh my god, could you imagine that the Eagles and the Jets both surpassed the Giants already?
Yeah, but the Eagles and the Jets could have 5 picks of the top 10 and they'd miss on all of them.
Do you remember the JJ Arcega-Whiteside pick from the Eagles when they could have had AJ Brown, DK Metcalf?
they're not very good at drafting, are they?
They're
No,
really
they're
really bad.
Howie Roseman is a literal problem for the Eagles. Like, they won't fire him for some reason.
So as long as they can miss, I mean, how do you miss on 3 top 10 picks? Is that even possible?
If anybody could do it, it's the Eagles.
So let's hope they do that, because right now I would bet money that they get 3 in the top 10.
The Eagles are basically being run like the Knicks in the mid 2000s.
You mean the Knicks until like recently?
I wasn't going to go that far, but yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Basically, too, because that's the other thing, too, because like the Knicks, like James Dolan loves to get his feet involved, or like his feet or his hands, whatever. He likes to put his feet in the pool.
Dick in the pot.
Matt's big on feet.
I am a huge feet guy.
So basically, what I'm trying to say is Jeffrey Lurie is the same thing with the Eagles, where Jeffrey
He's
Lurie loves
another
to give his
shitty owner. Yeah,
exactly. There's all these guys who know, let the football guys be the football guys, and they'll get the job done.
The NFC East has some really shitty owners.
Let's see. You have Mara and Tish seem like they haven't really done anything horrible.
They're not like power hungry idiots, but they seem to be idiots who can't do anything correct. And the other 3 are just jackasses.
And then you have Jerry Jones, who, like we said, is just jackass.
Moron. Yep.
Jeffrey Lurie.
Snyder's a piece of garbage.
And then you have a little piece of human shit in Dan Snyder, who literally, I still don't understand how out of all the shit that came out with the John Gruden stuff, no one from the football team took any heat.
Makes no sense. I feel the NFL is protecting him. I think they have to be.
The NFL protects a lot of people like Spygate.
Fuck off.
That's different. That's different.
But even look to it, certain cases like look at how Ray Rice did his incident and got out of the league. Meanwhile, Tyreek Hill's gotten away with the shit that he's done, and he's still in the league.
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt's the best kicker in the league. See those TikTok videos making?
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. Ray Rice deserved to get suspended, but he got blacklisted. Didn't get a second chance.
Colin Kaepernick did as well, but I feel like that's for
it's for
different reasons. I don't want to go into this because I don't want to look bad, but also his play really kind of fell off right beforehand. So I feel like they kind of just like, it was one of those things where they just expected to sweep it under the rug and it like not to be noticed, but in reality it got noticed.
He wasn't that great, but I mean, it's shocking he didn't have another chance.
But let's put it this way. He definitely fell off and his play wasn't warranting being a starting quarterback. I will give you that. Nathan Peterman is the fucking backup for the Raiders.
That's because John Gruden sucks that guy off.
Like,
no,
seriously.
literally, Matt. No, Ramey. Literally, Matt is 100% right. Because even to Marcus Mariota, like he's like everyone's like, what the fuck is Nathan Peterman on the roster? And it's like Gruden loves him for some reason.
Gruden loves the guy. It makes no sense. You must have Gruden dudes.
Oh, I forgot Mariota's there too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Why do they have 3 active quarterbacks?
Man, the 2015 quarterback class is one of the worst in the end. I think, dude. The 2015 quarterback class and the 2013 quarterback class where EJ Manuel and Geno Smith are the top 2 quarterbacks taken. Have you ever looked at that 2013 draft?
I mean, there were a lot of shitty classes. Goff and Wentz isn't good. I mean, what was Jones and Dwayne Jones is the best quarterback in the first round. I don't remember anybody else who went, but Dwayne Haskins is a disaster.
So I'm going to list you guys. I got to do this because the 2013 draft class is one of the weirdest ones of all time. Although it features Travis Kelce, Le'Veon Bell, DeAndre Hopkins, and Tyrann Mathieu. But apart from that, so I'm going to list you the top 10 to see how many of you guys, these names you recognize. Eric Fisher.
Tackle?
Yes. Luke Jokel.
I know that name sounds familiar, but I couldn't.
Seems like somebody the Jags would fucking draft.
Yes, he went to the Jags at 3. At number 3 overall, Deion Jordan.
No. Don't know that name.
Lane Johnson. Number 4 to the Eagles. Yes. Deion Jordan right now is a free agent. He last played in the league in 2020 for San Francisco. Ezekiel Ansah went 5th.
I know Ziggy Ansah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That I know.
Number 6 was Barkevious Mingo.
What?
That's the Browns, right? That's the Browns, isn't it?
Sounds like a porn star.
He was a defensive end, I think. LSU?
Yes. Number 7 was Jonathan Cooper. Guard out of North Carolina. He went to the Cardinals.
Too generic.
Tavon Austin went 8th.
Tavon Austin was the first wide receiver taken.
Former Ram great.
Former Cowboy bum.
D. Milner went 9th.
Sounds like an old man.
And Chance Warmack went 10th.
Excuse me?
Chance Warmack.
Oh, Hans.
Yes, the first quarterback from this draft class at 16th was EJ Manuel to the Bills.
That's awful.
Oh, why am I watching a Charlotte match?
Is EJ Manuel even in the league anymore?
No.
There's no way he can be.
Like, here's one of the best ones. One of the good picks in this draft at 31 was Travis Frederick.
Cowboys, baby.
Unreal.
Taken at number 24, Bjorn Warner from Florida State.
Ooh.
Defensive end he was with the Indianapolis Colts, born in Germany. He played 3 years for the Colts and he played for the Jags, and he's currently I think it sounds like he's retired. He broadcasts. Here's the thing. Since his retirement from professional football, Warner serves as commentator and analyst for NCAA and NFL games on German television. He's also the co-host of the podcast Football Bromance.
Wow. Can you get him on the podcast, please?
Yeah.
Like episode 121. Can you reach out to him?
I already got a guess for 121 confirmed, but maybe 122 or 123. I'll do it.
Oh.
Bjorn Warner. We'll team him up with Karsten Schaefer, or Calvin Klein.
Oh, he's German, you said?
Yeah.
I was thinking about the Scandinavian guys from Family Guy. A hot piece of pea. That's not German.
Was it the two foreign guys?
The disc? Yes. That was just on the other day. It's like, I almost made sex with that woman. Those guys, yeah.
Oh no, I put too much detergent in the machine. Wizard Robot's friend.
God.
Was the 2013 draft, was that DeAndre Hopkins?
It was DeAndre Hopkins, Travis Kelce, and Tyrann Mathieu. I love it when people go back and rethink about that draft and they're like, "Oh, why wasn't Travis Kelce taken in the first round?" It's like no one knew him, and he was kicked off the football team in college for fucking partying, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember, Matt, wasn't it the Ryan Nassib draft? Isn't giant great Ryan Nassib quarterback?
We've taken some great quarterbacks. Him and Davis Webb and
Kyle Lauletta.
Oh man, who was the idiot who got pulled over? Was that Lauletta?
Yeah.
What a dumbass.
I think he was speeding on his way to the facility. The New York Giants' first round pick from that draft was Justin Pugh.
He wasn't too bad. That wasn't a terrible pick.
I'm just looking down the rest of this list too, because I was supposed to see who the other Giants pick was. Geno Smith at 39.
Dick.
Where is it? At 47, the Dallas Cowboys drafted Gavin Escobar.
Yeah, that's one that we're gonna regret. Don't even remember who Gavin Escobar was.
Escobar.
It sounds like a wrestler. Gavin Escobar.
That sounds like a jobber on Main Event.
Yeah. So the picks for the Giants in this draft were Jonathan Hankins, DeMontre Moore, Ryan Nassib.
He was good for a while. He was an idiot, but he had a few good moments.
Cooper Taylor.
No, couldn't tell you.
Eric Herman.
Yeah, no.
And with pick 253 out of UMass, Michael Cox.
Michael what?
CEOX.
What? Michael Cox?
Yeah.
No idea.
And then the 2014 obviously got better with Odell Beckham, but then the next pick was Weston Richburg.
Another fucking lineman. He was on the team for a while. Yeah. We haven't had a solid draft since like 2007. Like when every single one of our draft players played in the Super Bowl.
Oh, here's the best one is 2015 at 9th overall, Eric Flowers.
Yeah. Disaster. Wasn't that the last pick by Jerry Reese?
I believe so, yes.
Moron.
Last first round draft pick for him.
Yep.
Guy
Where's
won
Jerry Reese right now?
Guy won 2 Super Bowls. Couldn't have been a worse GM.
What's he also in this draft?
I think Jerry Reese is wandering around Bed Bath & Beyond asking where his wife is.
Oh, and Bobby Hart as well.
Working at Bed Bath & Beyond. Stay away from the Beyond section, though.
He's only 58.
Yeah, well, he's a
Why do I think he was in his 70s?
No, yeah, he was young. He inherited the team from Ernie Accorsi, poor guy.
Oh, no.
Builds the team and retires.
In 2016, which also featured a couple of good picks in the second and fourth round. At 10th overall in 2016, Jerry Reese selected Eli Apple.
Yeah. That's the worst pick in franchise history.
You also got B.J. Goodson and Sterling Shepard in that draft, though.
Shepard was a great pick, but Eli Apple, I mean, seriously.
Wait, so then Reese's last draft had to be Evan Ingram
Yes.
in 2017.
Oh, that's right. He is the last Jerry Reese guy.
Because then he got fired with McAdoo.
And Dalvin Tomlinson,
who we decided not to keep.
Oh,
I'm just upset that in that draft, the Cowboys drafted Taco Charlton and did not draft TJ Watt like I wanted.
never forget that they picked fucking Taco Charlton. I don't even think he's in the league anymore.
Huge regret. He's
Wait,
actually
Taco?
in the Steelers. Taco's on the Steelers now.
With
Oh.
TJ Watt.
With TJ Watt, yeah.
Taco Charlton.
It's funny how that shit works out, isn't it?
Oh man.
He's on. I think he's on their practice squad. He got signed a few weeks ago because he was on the Chiefs.
Oh my
The dude
God.
goes from the Cowboys to like good teams.
It's just one of those things. You just love to see it.
It's nice to see at least the Cowboys miss occasionally too.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for episode number 120. We, like I said before, I know the viewers are going to like this one. I'm definitely going to get Matt and Ramey back on at some point for some more random NFL banter. In season, off season, whenever we want, we'll do it when it's good for you and it's good for me.
The next Cowboys crushing loss, I need to rant.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, next time, Ramey, I'm going to get you on is I'll be, I don't know, maybe 3 months from now, mid-January. We'll do this again.
Mid-January wild card round. They're going to lose to the Packers. It's going to make me feel great.
You know, you guys are going to play that Monday night primetime game, that one standalone game on the Monday night. That's when it's going to be in fucking primetime.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Oh God. I just hope anybody but the Cowboys can go to the Super Bowl. Anyone.
It is what it is. Well, anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to episode number 120 of YWC Football Talk. I'll be back with Joe Miller, the voice of Bills Mafia, on Wednesday for episode number 121. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah.